Well, hello, everybody, and thank you for joining us. This is the Sharpe Way, episode number 645. I'm happy to be here with you. And no, I am not Larry Sharpe. I know some people are going to be very surprised right now, but it is 7 o'clock and it is June 12th. Yes, we did start on time, and I'm looking forward to this opportunity. Now, before anyone loses their mind and wonders what happened, did the Republicans take over Larry Sharpe's show? No, not really. What happened is Larry, as many people may be aware, is currently across over in California at the Libertarian Convention. He's at Freedom Fest right now, and he's doing a great job there. He's been moderating. He's a host. He's taking care of that event. I believe he's doing a couple of videos about that. I know I've seen some photos of him being over there. And so while he was there, he said, but I have the show. And he really wanted to do the show and make sure that he kept in touch with the audience because he loves you all. And so I talked to him and I said, I can help out. And he said, you know what, Mike, go for it. First time, as far as I'm aware, first time he has ever had a guest host on the Sharpe Way to take over for Larry. And I said, you know what? It's a heavy lift. Let me see if I can do it. Now, I promise, for those of you who are familiar with me, I am the host of No Soundbites Allowed, which is on YouTube and Rumble and all the rest. And people may be aware that every Sunday I do a show about 2:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And it usually goes about, a short show for me is like 4 hours. A long show for me and 12 hours is not unheard of. I'm not going to do that to you guys. Larry normally does about a 2-hour show. I'm going to do a 2-hour show. So I hope it'll be interesting. Now, one of the things that came in mind when I was doing this, and Larry, I got to give it to him. I got to let you guys know. Larry was phenomenal. He said, Mike, do the show. Do your show, do it the way you do it. I'm using his system. So if I think we're having a problem with Rumble right now, I apologize for anyone who can't see it there. We should be on X. We should be on Facebook. We should be on YouTube, Getter. We should be in all of those. I don't know why we're not on Rumble right now. I'll work it out later. But he said, do your show. And I'm going to go in here. But I want you guys to know, he let me loose and said, just do your show, do a good show, and we'll see what happens. So that's what I'm going to do. So it's a little bit different of a format. I'm not really familiar with the system he uses for his back end. I use an entirely different system. So I apologize to everyone on Rumble. They'll be seeing it in a later upload. StreamYard and today I know there's also the additional problem that earlier today, the Google Cloud was down, and so that took out a lot of systems out for a lot of people. So the internet's been glitchy all day, which kind of goes with the theme, because I was sitting to myself and I said, Mike, what can we talk about? I'm talking to a libertarian audience, an independent audience, third parties, the Green Party, I know are here. Many Democrats watch this program, as well as some Republicans and conservatives. So what can I talk about that is unifying, something that everyone can talk about and many of us have similar ideas about? Well, I think it's about whether or not America is ending. Are we seeing the demise of America? We've been promised and told that America is done, that there is no more America. We're losing all of our freedoms. The Constitution is being burned. It's all crashing around our feet. We're hearing that Donald Trump is a dictator and he's an authoritarian. And at the same time, we have on Saturday, there will be a military parade, which is the 250th anniversary of the United States Army. Hey, to all my soldiers out there, congratulations. You've made it to a quarter of a century. I'm proud of you guys. Marines are still better, but I'm still proud of everybody in the Army, everyone who has served, everyone who is serving now. May you find peace in your time that you are in service. But Saturday, we're going to have a military parade. It is not the first time that America has had military parades. It's not very common. The last time was in 1991, but we do have them. It isn't that unusual, but we're being told in this case, it's authoritarian. It means it's the end of America as we knew it, and it's now the American empire. We're seeing Marines, as I was speaking about before, they're now over in LA. They've been deployed. They've been trained. The training ended last night for civil unrest, which if I can train you to be prepared for civil unrest in 24 hours, that's not good training. I can tell you that. And sadly, honestly, Marines aren't trained for civil unrest. That's not what we do. I'm a Marine. Larry's a Marine. Many of our friends are Marines. Many people in the audience are. We don't do civil unrest. I mean, we create civil unrest. That's our job. I believe the quote is from the Marine Corps manual. In engaging enemies, it's to seek out the enemy through superior firepower maneuver and to remove the enemy's ability and willingness to continue to fight. That, I believe, is an exact quote from the Marine Corps manual. What that effectively means is Marines maim and kill. That's their job. That was my job when I was in Larry's job. That every Marine is a rifleman, a basic rifleman, and our job is to find the enemy, maim and kill, stop them. That's it. So I'm not really happy that Marines have been deployed in LA and the 24-hour course on civil unrest. I don't have a lot of faith in that, to be honest. Not because I doubt my Marines, but I know the training they went through, and the training to defeat the enemy is superior to whatever they learned in the last 24 hours. My fair warning to any of the progressives, the Democrats out there, any agitators that are out there that think, well, I'll just run up on a Marine in LA and I'll treat them like I would treat any police officer. Don't do it. You're not going to like the result. It's not going to be what you think it is. The Marines are not going to react like police react. Someone will get hurt, very badly hurt, and you don't want to do that to yourself. You may want the clicks, and I'm sure someone will get a 15-second soundbite out of that, and they'll plaster it around saying it's like Kent State all over again. It's not. It's not. Don't do this to yourself. You could be permanently hurt. Marines do not play when we are on duty. That's just a fact. So that being said, let's think about all of this. So put it all in context. So we've got Marines on U.S. soil, which is, again, not unheard of. It's unusual, highly unusual, but not unheard of. But in this case, to perform a policing action, that part is unusual. But military has been deployed on U.S. soil before. But we have that going on with the National Guard. 4,000 members of the National Guard have been deployed into LA because of the riots that are there. No, it's not the entire city burning, but it is parts of LA County and the city that are burning, that there is arson, there is property destruction, there are conflicts with law enforcement. So that is happening. There are agitators out there. There's two different groups in LA. There are those who are protesting, which is absolutely perfectly fine. I don't know anyone, whether you're a Republican, conservative, no matter what your political preference, if you are peacefully protesting, scream at the top of your lungs, carry the signs that you want to carry, and make sure your voice can be heard as much as it can. Absolutely no problem with that whatsoever. I don't care what you're protesting for or against. As long as it is peaceful, you're not blocking the roadways, so ambulances, fire trucks, emergency services can get to and from. People can go to and from work. Knock yourself out. Go for it. You can protest as long as everyone gets to live their life. Don't bother people's lives if they don't want to be involved. Leave them alone. Make your voice heard. So that's one group that's in LA. There is another group in LA. Those are the agitators. Those are the people who are there specifically to get the TikTok video. They're there to get the video clip, the viral clip that they're going to put out so that the Democrats, progressives, their favorite candidate, whatever, Antifa, whatever the group may be, that they're going to get that clip and say, see, this is why you should give me money. See, this is the problem in America. That's why we have to get rid of the Constitution. Or if you're talking about the members of the Democratic Socialists of America, this is why we have to get rid of the Constitution. This is why we have to have human rights and not civil rights, not constitutional rights. They're going to use it to promote their agenda. Those two groups are very different. The second group that are looking for the media hit, the eyeballs, to push their political agenda, those guys are the ones that are dangerous. Those are the ones that are very often burning down the police cars, destroying the public property, getting into confrontations with the law enforcement. They're the ones that turn the protest into a riot. Because the moment that there's violence involved, the moment that there's destruction of property involved, the moment that other people who don't want to be involved are being forced to be involved, that is no longer a protest. That is almost always a riot of some degree. Thankfully, it's not as bad as what we saw in 92 with Rodney King. It's not as bad as what we saw in 2020 with the lockdowns and the BLM, but it's not good. I mean, it's not the 120 days of protests that we saw in Portland, but it's not good. And it's continuing. And for people who don't know, normally protests organically only last about 3 to 5, at the most 7 days. It's because people can't be angry forever. They don't have that much anger. The emotion goes away. The energy goes away. You eventually have to go to sleep. You have to go back home to change your clothes, to eat some food. And when you do that, that energy, that anger that you've been out on the streets screaming about, that goes away. And that's why most protests tend to end in about 3 to 5 days. People have lives that they have to live. They need their energy. They need to recoup. They've made their point. And the media doesn't really pay attention. The news media, usually in a 3-day cycle, they move on to the next news event. But what we're seeing is a group, again, that second group, the agitators are coming in and they're pushing the story forward. And these are the people who are getting gas masks and shields. And you should ask yourself, who's paying for that? Where is that coming from? Because the protesters that were there originally, as angry as they may have been, waving the Mexican flags and running around, they didn't have gas masks. They didn't have shields. They weren't organized. The new group, ones that we've seen in the last 2 days, they are. That is something very different. Now, again, let's bring it back to the main question of today in the show is this the end of America? And is Donald Trump the cause of this? Is this something that we can lay at the feet of Republicans and MAGA and America First, and most importantly, Donald Trump, Orange Man Bad? Can we say Orange Man Bad did this? I don't think we can. I honestly don't. And I know there's a lot of comments going on, and I hope most of them are great right now. I haven't had a chance to take a look yet. But I think if we look at this logically, we come to a very different understanding. And again, that doesn't mean you have to like Donald Trump. I'm not asking anyone to vote for a conservative or a Republican. I'm not asking you to change your party affiliation. I'm not asking you to think that Donald Trump is your best buddy. I'm not saying any of that. You don't have to like him. That's not important. Is he effective? Is he efficient? That's a question we should ask. Is America being destroyed or rebuilt? That's a question we should ask. Should we believe the mainstream media that have lied to us continuously for the last 4 years, that we've seen repeatedly in various news stories over the last decade at least, that they have lied to your face over and over again? Should we believe them? Well, these are questions we should ask, and I'm going to ask those questions today, and I'm also going to give you my conclusions. For those of you who don't know, Normally, what I do in my program is I provide you with the links and the sources. Almost always, 90% of them are left-leaning sources because I am a Republican conservative. So I don't use right-leaning sources, almost never, so that you can see for yourself what I'm talking about and see the truth of it, because the truth is always there. The kernel of truth is always there. It may be buried, it may be hidden, but it's there. And then I make my conclusions based on the evidence, the credible news that is available to all of us. You may not agree, and that's perfectly fine. It's like a protest. You don't have to be in agreement with me, but at least have the conversation, because that's when America really shines. And that's why I would say, is America ending? No. Why? Because we're having conversations. You have this conversation with Larry Sharpe on a regular basis, and he's a libertarian, and he's run for governor. And by the way, I support Larry. He's a good friend of mine. I've spoken with Larry for about 8, 9 years, maybe 10 years now. I understand many of his policies. I don't agree with all of them, but I think he is a genuine asset to America and to New York State. And I do support him in the things that he does, even though he's a libertarian and I'm a Republican, because the best person with the best plan is the person I want to vote for. Period. It's not about the partisanship. There's a lot of things that I'm absolutely partisan on. Absolutely. I have my biases just like everyone does. But I want the best person. That's because I talk to Larry. I've listened to Larry on the many issues. Not that I agree in everything, but that we have these conversations. And so I got to evaluate him and compare him to many of the other politicians out there, many of the people who are candidates out there. Larry's got the best answers. That's why I support him. That's why I'm a friend of his. But let me step back for a moment, because not only do I like to go through these things, I also want you to know about some of the breaking news, because that also plays into this theme. Is America ending? Are we falling apart? Is freedom gone? And if freedom is gone in America, clear, it's gone everywhere in the world. We are the pinnacle. Whether you love America or hate America, it doesn't matter. Everyone in the world looks to America to be the shining beacon on the hill. We are the flame of liberty and freedom that everyone else looks at, and most countries try in some way to emulate. Most of them fail, but that's what they're looking at. This is what they're trying to get close to. And if it weren't for that, I tell you what, things would get really bad. By the way, if you have not, like, share, subscribe. Not for me, for Larry. This is Larry's program, for giving me the opportunity to share the First Amendment, my free speech, with you, to give me the opportunity to talk about this subject with you, because Larry does this for years now. He's been doing this almost as long as I have. I've been doing 20 years. He's been doing it 10. Because he does this every day, because he's in California right now at Freedom Fest, making sure that the First Amendment applies to everyone. Please like, share, subscribe. Help Larry out. Let's get Larry to, let's get him to 50,000 viewers. It's not looking for the most in the world. We're not trying to compete with Tim Pool and the rest of those guys. Just 50,000 subscribers. That's all. It's not a huge number. And I know you guys can help him do it. Absolutely. So I like to always take a moment to go into the breaking news and then get back into the story so that you can see the context. Is America ending? Is this Orange Man Bad's fault? So let's take a quick look at that. And let me see if I can make this work properly. Bear with me, folks. I know it's the first time I'm doing this, so it's like, nope. That's not right. There we go. Okay. So what you see on the screen is there's some breaking news that came out about 4 hours ago. The Trump administration tells migrants, illegal aliens, well, excuse me, migrants, these are refugees. The Trump administration is telling refugees from Cuba, Haiti, Nicaragua, and Venezuela that their legal status no longer exists. Now, in this, what you'll hear very often from many members of the left is, oh my God, Trump is a racist. This is proof. He's getting rid of black and brown people because he's racist. He's an ist. He's a 1930s German. And this is the proof of it. And that's why America's ending. We told you it's all over. It's right in your face. This is all over. The Constitution is burning because he's getting rid of black and brown people. He's going to put everyone in chains tomorrow. No, he's not. And that's not the truth. Now, what's the part that should be pretty important in this CNN article? Again, breaking news just came out, and it's something that we've been hearing about actually for a couple weeks now. It's been back and forth in the courts, and the Supreme Court has agreed with the Trump administration. The answer is there was a Biden-era program. You may remember there was a temporary program to help the Venezuelans and the people of Haiti. Haiti is still going through a civil war. Gangs are trying to take over the government of Haiti. And 40,000 Americans were abandoned by the Biden-Harris administration in Haiti. They took out one plane full of Americans and ignored the rest of the place. And so Biden said, oh, well, you know what? Let me do something to look good for the next election. And he said, okay, we'll let Haitian refugees come in. But he also let in Venezuelans because they're starving to death, and Nicaraguans and Cubans because, communism doesn't work. And what happened is they were on a temporary program. They weren't here permanently. They weren't given permanent refugee status. They were never supposed to be here for years and years and decades and decades. Democrats often forget that. The progressives often forget that on purpose. They think, oh my God, they're here. You can't send them back, but they were never supposed to stay. They were always refugees temporarily. They weren't relocating to America for the rest of their lives. But they like to think that. They want you to think that so that they can get that headline, because they're not mentioning the temporary refugees are being sent back to their home countries. Oh, they didn't say that. See, if you said that, which is the actual factual truth, 53,000 are being sent back to their homes. Well, that doesn't sound like a racist. That doesn't sound like an ist or a phobe. That doesn't sound like 1930s Germany. So they lose the donations. They lose the pandering. They lose the virtue signaling, because most Americans will look at it and go, well, they weren't supposed to be here permanently. It was only temporary. So I'm not surprised. So maybe this is giving us the hint that maybe America isn't ending, but the fear of America ending, that is on a surge. Just maybe. Now, you may say, Mike, well, come on, Mike. That's just one news story. And yeah, I get that point. In CNN, they're not known for their credibility. They're more than willing to bend the news to get whatever they want. True enough. Absolutely true. But it's not the only story. There is some other breaking news that came out about an hour before the show started. I was trying to listen in, and the Homeland Security Secretary, Kristi Noem, was on, and she was having a press conference saying that the Trump administration is going to keep on moving forward, and they're going to continue, even though Gavin Newsom has said, oh, no, we don't want you. Gavin Newsom's like, oh, I don't want you to be in, don't want the Marines there, the National Guard. We don't want Trump to stop the open border policies, the sanctuary city and sanctuary state policies in California. Well, that's not really a choice he gets to have. We're talking about immigration. That's federal, not state. And I understand there is a definite separation between state and a federal government. But this is something that's federal, the federal immigration laws. So they don't really get that same choice. And so for some reason, California Senator Alex Padilla decided that the very best thing he could do He's a Democrat. And the very best thing he could do for his constituents, the very best thing that he could do for the illegal aliens that he's trying to protect, the very best thing he could do for freedom in America was crash into the press conference and make a fool of himself. I'm telling you, this is exactly what happened, folks. Now, you may say, oh, Mike, but you don't understand, because that's what the left always loves to say. You just don't understand. No, I do. I do understand. I just don't agree. And let me show you why I don't agree. Because when I say Senator Alex Padilla, a California senator, made a fool of himself, I want you to see, this is the video here. Let me show you. And let's play this.
I'm Senator Alex Padilla. I have questions for the secretary, because the fact of the matter is a half a dozen violent criminals that you're rotating on your
I also want to
head
talk
off.
about how many of our ICE agents have been doxxed for doing their duty, and how they have been targeted.
I'm Senator Alex Padilla. I have questions.
And so this is just going to repeat. This is from News Channel 11 out in California. And what you can see is he barged in because he's a senator. He got access to the press conference. He then disrupted. You can hear in the background, that's Kristi Noem giving her prepared remarks and talking about the policy and the goals and the mission that is ongoing in LA right now. What do they expect to do? How they're going to do it? How it's going to affect California, LA, the United States. This is important. This is critical. Now, the thing that upsets me about this and why I say that Padilla is pretty much a fool and embarrassing himself right here is because he's a senator. He has access to the Secretary of Homeland Security. He has access to the Trump administration. He has access to President Trump. Not only are there channels, not back channels, not secret backdoor deals. We're talking about he can make a formal request. He can ask her to appear in front of Congress, in front of the Senate, and speak under oath to him and every other senator. And he can ask any question that he wants and demand that she provide not only an answer, but documented proof of whatever it is that he wants to talk about. But he's not doing that. I mean, he has the official capacity. He has the right. This isn't me showing up saying, gee, I would love to talk to Secretary Noem, but she doesn't, I got my hand up, I have a question ready, and she just ignores me. No, it's not like that. It's not some guy down on the street or a protester who wound up in the room and decided to just scream because they want to make it. No. And I have to tell you, why is a senator doing this? Pandering. He's doing it so that he can have this clip sent out to all of his constituents so that they can give him more money, so that they can vote for him and reelect him, so that he can have more power. This is purely selfish because he has the opportunity and the capability to do something completely different. That he has the access to get the answers to the questions that he wants to ask that may be the very same questions that his constituents want to ask. He has every opportunity to do that and can do it under oath, which would command the truth and documentation as well. Instead, he wants to get votes. He wants to get money. This is selfish. Alex Padilla, Senator of California, is selfish and doesn't care about his constituents because he's wasting their time and money on a gimmick. Is America falling apart? Is America going down the drain? Is this the end of America? No, but it's the fear of it. It's the fear of America falling apart. It's the fear of the end of everything, but it's not the reality. That's not what we are seeing. Okay. So, oh my God. Sorry guys, I didn't even notice. I just saw that we got, I know Larry likes to focus on members first, And of course, first beyond even any of that is when you see, thank you for the super chat. This is from the lunatic libertarian. He goes, I will give non-profane insight. Oh my God. I'm almost afraid of what you have to say about. I can't wait until I go through some of the comments here about what we've been talking about so far. But thank you, the Lunatic Libertarian, for the 199. And if you would like to be highlighted and get first on the list of comments that I am going to go over and speak about, you too can do a super chat, a Rumble rant, and help Larry out. He appreciates it. I appreciate it. And I also wanted to make sure that we acknowledge that the Lunatic Libertarian has been a member for 5 months. 5 months. And give good insight. Okay. There's a couple of comments going on in the background. I love that. Oh my God. We have another. Here comes another comment. Peace Logic says, how many politicians can you name that actually care about their constituents right now? Off the top of my head, I can name one, and that would be my good friend. Claudia Tenney, who used to be in the New York 22nd District. She's now in the New York 24th District. I've known Claudia for about as long as I've known Larry, about a decade. So I know her personally, and I also know her professionally as well. So I would say she cares about the constituents. Beyond that, I'm hard pressed to name another. I mean, I'm being fair. I'm really hard pressed to name another politician who isn't obsessed with pandering, getting money, and getting reelected to maintain their power. I mean, that's why they've been in office for what? I think half of the members of Congress have been in office for at least 2 decades, at least 20 years. We have many, about a third have been in elected office for about 3 decades, 30 years. That's older than some of the people who are watching this program right now. And we have people who've been in almost 40 plus years, almost 50 years. So it's insane what we're seeing out there. And many of our elected officials, they're multimillionaires, like Bernie Sanders. He's a multimillionaire. Bernie's never had a real job in his life. Barack Obama never had a real job in his life. He's a multimillionaire now. It's amazing. So money and power are absolutely in politics, as we know right now. And it's really sad. But I want to thank you, Peace Logic, for the $4.99 and making the comment. I know Larry will appreciate it as well. So I wanted to give you some of that breaking news to get you up to speed about what's happening right now, to bring us all together. Now, I'm going to, before I go any further, because there's more about this that I think is important, but we know what's happening right this second. And it's not America falling apart. It's not Orange Man bad destroying America. That's not what's happening. What is happening is there are people of various political persuasions. Many of them right now are Democrats, are progressives, are socialists. That's true. And they're taking advantage of this. We're talking about Gavin Newsom. We're talking about Andrew Cuomo, Zoran Mamdani, and Alex Padilla. We see a lot of Democrats, progressives, socialists that are taking advantage of this for money and power. There are Republicans doing the same. I'm not saying there are none, but the biggest voices we can see. It's grating because they are hurting freedom around the world. Again, if America falls, everyone falls. There is no nation that, since they emulate us, if we don't have freedom, no one does. No one does. By the way, we got another comment here. Phil Vecchio. Thank you. Phil says he donates $2, and thank you for the super chat. He says, Claudia Tenney is so good, they redistricted her. And you are not wrong. In New York State, which is a very, very hyper-partisan state, it is bluer than blue because they gerrymander districts. That means they arrange the state so that they have huge pockets of Democrats so that they can't lose in an election, that there's just more Democrats in any one area than anywhere else. And Claudia Tenney has run, they redistricted her so that it was impossible. There were more Democrats in the district than Republicans. They kicked her out of that area. So she had to go where she could have a fair fight. And she's in office today, which I'm happy to say she is in elected office. I'm glad you know Claudia Tenney. She's one of the good ones out there. There aren't a lot. I mean, there's Rand Paul, Thomas Massie. I agree. They're great people. There's Claudia Tenney. So yeah, there's two more. I do like Rand Paul most of the time, and I do like Thomas Massie most of the time. They, I do believe, are very much focused on their constituents. So to give them credit, those are two other individuals as well. Let's see. Ryan Murphy with $5. Thank you. Ryan says, the Democrats have an approval rating of 21%. I believe that poll came out a day, possibly 2 days ago. I believe it was yesterday, but it might be 2 days ago that the most recent poll came out saying that Democrats have approval rating of 21% and a disapproval rating of 70%. These are Democrats. Democrats are pissed off at the Democratic Party. And I'm not surprised why. Did you see what Alex Padilla just did? Did you see the waste of time and money and effort that he just put the nation through? So I'm not surprised. I am not surprised at all that we're seeing this because they're not paying attention to what constituents want. 54% of Americans, that's Democrats, independents, third party, Republicans, want deportations. They want to enforce immigration law. Now, that doesn't mean there aren't caveats to that. There are. Everyone agrees, and even higher numbers. I believe the numbers are approximately 73%. If I'm remembering the last poll properly, 73% want criminals, those who are violent criminals. They not just the crime of entering America illegally, but also those who then went on to commit the crime, other crimes, whether it's human trafficking, otherwise known as slavery, sex slavery, drug trade, various forms of corruption and crime. If they're doing that, assaulting, domestic abuse, we see a lot of that out there. And if they're doing these things, if they're maps, that kind of thing, then yeah, the problem is we all want them out. That violates every kind of condition that America's generous nation, the most generous nation in the world. The American citizens give away and donate more to countries around the world than individual countries. You could add up about 10% of all the countries in the world and their international charity, and that doesn't equal the American people by themselves, not the nation, the people, individuals like you and I. So when these people are breaking additional laws, it's really, really upsetting. It really is. But let me go back and check out some of the comments here. So before we go any further, I just want to catch up on some of the comments because they're coming in fast and furious. I love you guys. Thank you for that. So I see that Lunatic started off everything. He was the first comment I saw about 10 minutes before the show started. And he said, he's in the house. Yeah, you were. Absolutely. And he goes on to say, Larry, we are toast unless there is some serious restructuring. Oh, wait, I already said we're screwed a while ago. Okay. You know what? The Sharpe way is not getting restructured. I'm just here for a moment, and that's okay. Larry, trust me, I appreciate him giving me the opportunity, so it's not that bad. And I did, by the way, Larry didn't say this. I said this. Here it is. Let me put it up there. I was wondering, before the show started, I don't know if anyone saw this. I asked the question, I really wonder what all the libertarians in the audience were expecting from the start of the show. Did you expect brimstone, fire and brimstone? Am I being fire and brimstone conservative? I don't know. I don't think I am, but perhaps I am. I don't know. Let me know. So let me go on. Let's see. Dave Davis says, Larry, I think it all depends. Biden wanted to search people's homes for guns without a warrant. Trump wants to search people's homes for illegal aliens without a warrant. You're right to an extent. It's not without a warrant. Trump does. And first of all, when they are knocking on doors without the warrant, you have the right. And people have just closed the door and said, no, go get a warrant. And the Trump administration, whether it's with the National Guard or the state police or even Marines, aren't breaking down the door and trying to force their way in. If you close the door and say, get a warrant, they walk off because that's all they can do. If you invite them in, that's entirely different. Now you've invited them in, they can go and do the search as they want. Of course, you still have the right to say, get out of my house, but it's a little after the fact. And if they see something that's a crime, they can take action on that because you let them in. But there is not one example that I am aware of in the news media over the last week, anywhere in the nation, where we have seen that members of ICE, of Homeland Security, of National Guard, Marines, that they have broken into someone's home without a warrant and just broken the law. That hasn't happened. Biden did want to take people's guns without a warrant, and there's a lot of examples of that, but I won't get into Second Amendment tonight. We're going to talk more about other issues. Let me catch up a little bit here, because, God, there's a lot of comments. I love that. Let's see. Liberty lady is correct. She says, Larry is kicking ass at Freedom Fest right now. Yes, he is. He's doing a great job there. And I hope people are appreciating that he took time off of his show to go out with them because he wants to support them as much as he wants to support you guys that are watching in the audience. And he's doing a great job. And I hope this is living up to his expectations. I'm sure I'm going to get a text after the show from his team and or him telling me whether I did a great job or not. I'll probably know before then based on the comments. Let me see. Let me see here. I'm just trying to catch up. Joel says he's watching from work. Thank you. We appreciate that. I'm very happy about that. Yeah, SteamYard has been a little bit glitchy. A couple of people have mentioned that. Mike has bad knees is mentioning it. Okay. Mike Veloff. Mike says, Trump is the icky tasting medicine America needs to get better. I'm sure there are many people on the left, the Democratic Socialists of America, Ilhan Omar, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, Elizabeth Warren, a lot of Democrats out there, Andrew Cuomo, Gavin Newsom, they would say, no, America does not need to get better, it needs to stay the same. At least in their opinion, America needs to stay exactly the same, which is full of corruption and grift. And they're the guys who make the money off of that grift. Andrew Cuomo is a great example of that. Makes massive. My understanding is he's made massive money off of grifting because of his elected office. And we do know that, Gavin Newsom, when everything was locked down, Gavin Newsom was more than happy to continue to go out with his friends at a restaurant when everyone else had to be locked in their homes. So, yeah, they think America should stay exactly the same because they have an advantage. Trump, whether you love him or hate him, he doesn't have that same exact opinion. Mind you, Trump is for Trump first. He's for America second. At least we're in the top 3. I don't believe Gavin Newsom, many of the Democrats out there, Andrew Cuomo, I don't think they have America in the top 10 on their list of priorities. But at least Trump has us in the top 3. I truly believe that, but we'll see. Let me go on with some of the other comments here before I go further. Becky asked a great question here. I thought the parade, again, Saturday, June 14th, there's going to be a parade. in Washington, D.C. It's for the Army 250th birthday. It happens to also be, by coincidence, the same exact day as Donald Trump. It'll be his 79th birthday. So we can celebrate the Army and America and Donald Trump all on the same day. Mind you, during the parade, they are not going to mention Donald Trump's birthday. At least that's the words that have come out so far. The plan so far, they're not going to mention Donald Trump's birthday during the parade. It's about the Army because they want more recruitment. Recruiting has gone down over the last 4 years under the Biden-Harris administration. It had previously been going up. Obama, we saw that recruitment went down across the military. Trump, the recruitment went up, and then Biden, it went back down again. So now they're trying to get back to their recruitment levels. Whether you agree with having as big an army as we have right now, that's a separate issue, but that's why they're doing this event. And it's not because of Trump's birthday. Although, if you look at the mainstream media, that's how they're phrasing it. And if you're looking at the protests that are coming out, there is a series, about 1,000 protests are expected across America, which is fine. 1,000 locations, almost every single one of them are where you have seen autonomous zones and progressive Democrat strongholds, every single one. Boston, Chicago, New York, Austin, LA, San Francisco, Portland, Seattle. Do you notice that all these locations have something in common? They've all had Atlanta. They've all had autonomous zones, which are absolutely insurrectionist. They violate every local, state, and federal law. And they also, each and every one of them, are progressive Democratic strongholds. You're not hearing about this in the middle of Kansas. It's not happening in Kentucky or Idaho, in Montana. They're not having these protests. That should tell you something about them. And they call it the No Kings March. It's a protest against the immigration laws of the Trump administration. And they're trying to say, well, this military parade is about Donald Trump. As you mentioned, Becky, that's the message that's being put out to the public when that's not the truth. But thank you for bringing that up, Becky. I hope I answered that question. Let's see. That Liberty Lady says, but Mike, MAGA GOP tells me it's okay to send in the Marines. Not exactly. And I'm a Republican. Many Republicans and many conservatives, many people, I think we tend to say, and I think Larry said this as well, that at this point in what's been happening in California and around the country, because we've seen now that they're starting, the agitators, the professional protesters, they're starting to go to their other strongholds. We've seen arson, cars and buildings being destroyed, burned, set on fire. We're seeing rioting in cities like Brooklyn, New York, and in San Francisco and Austin. It's happening around the country. Again, all in super blue, super Democrat strongholds. It's not happening where Republicans are. It's not happening over in Utica, New York. It's just not. It's not happening in the 21st District of New York. It's not happening there. Again, it's not happening in Mississippi. We're not seeing this in Nevada. It's just not happening. So it tells you something about that. But I think most conservatives, most Republicans will say, based on what we've seen so far, the bar has not risen to the level to allow to have the Marines come in. I said this publicly. I'll say it again. We haven't reached a point of chaos where Marines should be on U.S. soil for this policing action. I don't agree with that. They're supposed to mostly be staying at federal properties to protect, the courts, as an example. But I don't think they should be there. National Guard, absolutely. Federalize them, absolutely. Marines, no, because that's not our job. But let me move on a little bit. Wow, we have a lot of comments here tonight. Becky also says, the blocking traffic protests are so obnoxious. I see pictures and videos on social media, but never find out if they get moved out of the street by law enforcement. Generally, no. No, they don't. While the protest is going on, no, they stay in the way. People get delayed. We've heard many cases where ambulances are completely delayed and people are continue to be hurt because of the delays. So it is a problem. And the media doesn't like talking about the consequences of these things. Let me see. Where am I at? Oh, Phil. Okay, you guys are talking to each other about jokes in there. That's great. Hey, Duke of Hex. Hello, Duke. Anti-Constitution rhetoric is domestic terrorism. The Constitution is the greatest document produced. It must be protected at all costs. Duke, I absolutely, yeah, I agree with you that the Constitution is the best, not the best written. To be fair, the best. I mean, if you ever read the Constitution of the former Soviet Union, the USSR, it has a beautiful, brilliant document. It doesn't mean anything. It's absolutely useless. It's not enforced at all. But if you read the communist constitution, it sounds beautiful. It sounds perfect. It sounds like a paradise. But then there's the reality. So while the Constitution is a great document, it's not, the greatness of it doesn't come from the way it was written or what it says per se. It is the way that we have lived it. We have lived very much by the spirit of the words there, the meanings that each line represents. And I think that's the biggest thing. And yes, I do believe the Constitution, the amendments must be protected because they are essential to our nation. They are the foundation of everything that we have. Our society does not exist without the Constitution and the amendments. And so I do think they have to be protected. I think it's vital. I wouldn't say at all costs because that implies conflict that I don't think we need to get to. It's almost it's a little too provocative to say that. I think it's enough to say that we must protect it, that it is vital to our society, to our nation, to our well-being, and to the well-being of the globe. Because every nation, every people look at that Constitution, the ones that can read and script. Our kids can't, but other countries can. And they look at our Constitution and they understand the meaning of it and they desire it. That's why so many people come to America every year, even under Donald Trump. Legally coming to America, that number isn't diminishing. We're not losing people who legally want to be part of America and the American Constitution, the American dream. We're not seeing that number drop at all. And even with Donald Trump in, we still have illegal aliens trying to get into America. It's about 95% less than under the Biden-Harris administration. That's actually a fact. That's a number from the Customs Border Patrol. Their monthly numbers year to date, they're showing that there's a 95% drop in the number of illegal aliens coming into America. While that's huge, it's not zero. And it will never be zero because America is great, because the Constitution is great. And so you'll never see that number go to zero, but it did drop. It did drop. Okay, so before I go any further, and I know there's a lot more comments. Oh my God, so many comments. I love you guys. I love the comments. And I love taking questions. But I do want to point out something. So going back to the theme of the show today and the message that we're trying to deal with here, I want to show you something because, and I think it's important that we highlight and point out America is not being destroyed. America isn't falling apart. Trump isn't destroying America as much as they're telling you that he is. Let me show you. This is a link to Chat GPT. Now, you may not be able to see this well, but you may want to zoom in after the show, double check. I'll leave a link for it in the description. I asked Chat GPT this question. Can you tell me how many times did mainstream media say Donald Trump or his policies were dangerous to America or authoritarian? Now, this is very important. What is the mindset of the news media that is meant to inform you and me? The people who are supposed to be impartial, neutral, or at least tell us what their bias is, at least be honest with us and say, well, there is a bias here. Okay, fantastic. When we look at these people, what are we seeing? And when you look through this, now, for some reason, I didn't put a time frame on it. So ChatGPT went to the most recent, and they can pull up the Guardian, the Washington Post, the Daily Beast, AP, Time, have all called Donald Trump a dictator, saying that he's authoritarian. His policies are authoritarian, each and every one of them. Going back to 2024 and into 2025, the Financial Times, Time Magazine, CNN, The Atlantic, Washington Post, NPR, Reuters, ABC, each and every one of them have put out their news media, their videos, their articles, saying that MAGA is overreach, that there were threats to the press, freedom of press, that Trump had dictatorial tendencies. Guess what, folks? Freedom of speech hasn't stopped. Well, no one's stopping it. Now, Alex Padilla, I know someone point, Mike, you just showed us Alex Padilla getting kicked out. That's because he was interrupting the ability of the government to inform the public. No one said he can't speak. No one said he'll never be able to speak. He's been thrown into a gulag. No, they said go through the proper channels, that there is a way to do that. And he's an elected official. He has every opportunity to do it. No one stopped him from speaking. They just said, don't stop the government from informing the public. That's their job. See, so there is a difference there. But I went on a little bit further, and then there's more here. And you can type this into Chat GPT yourself, ask the same question I did. So then I asked a further question. Can you tell me how many times from 2015 until 2020 did the mainstream media say that Donald Trump or his policies were dangerous to America or authoritarian? And this is really interesting because the news coverage, talking about CNN, MSNBC, now this is by ChatGPT. Now, I also did this with Grok. Grok says there's over 4,000 examples of the mainstream news media telling you that Trump is a dictator, he's authoritarian, America's falling apart. But going with ChatGPT, which is the lower numbers, these are smaller numbers than what other AI are able to find. And we can see 275 mentions from the Washington Post. We can see that there were 625 instances of saying that Donald Trump is a dictator, and over 1,000 of these comments from MSNBC and from CNN. That's ridiculous. That's not counting print media. That's not talking about what was online. We're talking about thousands, if not tens of thousands of times you've been told the world is ending. That's fear-mongering. That is a decade of fear-mongering, telling you one message, telling your kids and your grandkids one message, that if you do not obey, that you are a problem, that anyone who isn't on the political reservation is a problem. And that's bad. That is bad. I have a big problem with that. I have a massive problem with that because that is not how we do this. By the way, let me stop for a second because we have a comment here. The Lunatic Libertarian, thank you for the $4.99. I know I'm behind on some of the super chats. I apologize. I'm not used to getting so many. I love it. I love getting so many super chats coming in. Larry's going to like me. I just enjoy seeing it happen. It's fantastic. Lunatic Libertarian says, I have much to say to you, a CB and a Marine. Oh my God, you want to talk about a salty conversation? I can imagine how salty that will be. I love my CBs. By the way, for people who don't know, CBs are Navy. But that, and so Navy and Marines, that would be fun. Lunatic goes on to say, I was speaking on the show's topic. I literally could talk to you for hours. Well, I always enjoy that. And I want you on the Lunatic Libertarian. Hey, invite me onto a program. I'm more than happy to join everyone. Thank you for the additional $5. Thank you very much. Larry appreciates it. I want Larry to be rich. By the way, folks, if you're wondering, this is all for Larry. All the money you're donating on the Sharpe Way, on Rumble, your donation, that's going to Larry. Please help Larry. I want him to be rich. My goal has always been, if I can make $1 million and you can make $10 million, who's upset? We all get to do well. You know, rising tide lifts all ships. So please do help Larry out. I appreciate it. I know Larry does as well. And plane tickets are expensive. But yes, Lunatic, reach out to me. Send me an email. My email's public. It's VosMike68. Send it out, and I'll be more than happy to jump on. I have no problem. I've spoken at colleges. I've spoken at events. I have no problem going anywhere in the country. People will just have to cover my cost, and I'll go anywhere to talk about politics. I've been doing it for 20 years. I have no problem with that at all. Dave Davis, thank you, Dave, for the $4.99. I appreciate this. So does Larry. Dave says, the approval rating of Congress is and has been low for quite some time. Yet they keep getting elected. Well, the problem with that, and you bring up a great point, because even as they embarrass us, the American people, even as they fail to be effective or efficient, even as they promote these lies that we always learn, whether it takes 6 months or 2 years, we always find out that they lied to us. It took 4 years for us to find out that Biden was a part-time zombie president. That's just the truth of it. And it took 4 years before they finally admitted that to us. We found out. The laptop, the Hunter Biden laptop, it was real. It took the New York Times 2.5 years to finally admit it's real. It's true. I mean, we can go through a lot of different cases of this. We always find out. But what we see is that in polling over and over again, while everyone will say Congress has failed, right now, the Republican Congress is failing. You're hearing that from a Republican. I think they are doing a miserable job right now. They could do so much more to funding the Department of Education, because that is a social experiment that has failed. Our kids, like in Hartford High School, are graduating and they are illiterate. They cannot read or write. That's happening under the Department of Education. We have seen the numbers, the data. Larry, I know, has gone over the numbers on his program with you guys many times. Data shows us the longer that the Department of Education has existed, the lower the numbers, the reading comprehension, the math skills have gone down, down, down. So this Republican Congress could be doing more. They introduced one bill to protect the Second Amendment in 2025. One so far. They could be doing so much more. Why are they getting reelected then? Because when you ask people, they will say, but my congressman is doing a good job. Because their congressman has a good ad. Their congressman has more money than all of the challengers. And so no one can afford to get more ads in front of the eyeballs of constituents locally to say, oh, this is what they did wrong. And that's why. It's kind of like what we're seeing with Andrew Cuomo. It's a similar example, but I think it's one that most people would have noticed. Andrew Cuomo is known for his being circled, very tightly circled, by massive corruption. He is known for having authorized the death of 16,000 people through his orders, and that he and his executive secretary at the time, Melissa DeRosa, then lied to the federal government and the public about where those people died. Said, oh, they didn't die in a nursing home. They died in a hospital. They died anywhere and everywhere but the nursing home that he sent them to. And so that's on him. And he had 11 acts of sexual harassment and or assault, as per the Attorney General of New York, Letitia James, who's a Democrat. But if you look at the ads that have been going on now, if you look at the news media, when he's speaking to the public, no one's talking about that. It's been whitewashed. Why? All you see is his ads saying he's doing great, that he has lots of experience and he's a great guy. And that's why he's been leading in virtually every single poll in running for mayor. Even though those very same Democrats that are going to be voting in the Democratic primary next Tuesday, Me Too, they were all in on Me Too. They were all in on trying to protect people from the pandemic. They were all in on the mandates. And yet we see Cuomo is corrupt to the best evidence that we have, and yet they support him. They're going to reelect him. It's because of money. It's because of money and advertising, and people aren't seeing anything else to stop them. Let me go to Peace Logic. Peace Logic with $10. Thank you, Peace, for your help here. And he is a member. Peace Logic says, Larry said in the past that you can't be in politics without becoming corrupted. So I ask the natural question. If you get a political position such as governor, how will you evade corruption? What are my thoughts? That is an excellent question. And it's a question that people should ask of every elected official, Donald Trump and everyone else. One of the things, and to the theme of today, let me mention that one of the things about Donald Trump, you really can't buy him off. He's a billionaire. He's a multi-billionaire. He's internationally powerful. He's a former president and a current president, and he's a billionaire. You really can't buy him off. He doesn't need the money. He's 79, okay? He doesn't need much of anything that he doesn't already have, and he has a hell of a lot. So the corruption tends to go down. Now, that doesn't mean he can't be taken advantage of. Doesn't mean that his ego can't get him in trouble. But one of the things is you have people who aren't the things that you could throw at them for corruption, mostly money, that they don't need it, that they have either a personality or circumstances that would prevent that. I'm not saying that everyone has to be rich, but we have people like Thomas Massey, Rand Paul. They're not super wealthy. They're not poor, but they're not super wealthy. And they're not trying to become super wealthy. They're not trying to become Elon Musk. And so because their lifestyle and their ideology do not require them to be more and more and always more powerful and always accumulating more money, then that helps to keep down the corruption. Not to say that they're perfect. I don't know them personally. I'm not saying they're perfect, but it helps. It helps to moderate that. Another thing that I think is very important is in terms of the candidate, the elected official, how do you keep them honest? One, who's surrounding them? That's absolutely important. So when I was running for elected office, and for people who don't know, in 2014, I ran for Congress, the New York 22nd District. I stepped down to allow Claudia Tenney to run. She's now a congresswoman. I'm doing this. But one of the things is look at the people surrounding you. Are they there for the money? Are they there to be parasites? Are they there for the power, for the paparazzi, to get their face on Instagram? Are they there to try and just push their political agenda? Are they like Patrice Cullors, who was the president of BLM, who was there to push her? You thought she was there for the political agenda. She got $90 million, ran off, bought 6 mansions, and then quit. Not much of a socialist, is she? No, because she wasn't there for that. She was there for the headlines, the attention, to get rich and to get out. And now she doesn't deal with BLM anymore, but she's already rich now. That's sad. That's sad. So look at the people that are surrounding that candidate. That's important. The more you have shady people surrounding you, more people who are there for attention, who are there for political advantage, the more corrupt that person's going to be, and the more quickly they will become corrupted. So that's important. If you see your candidates or your elected officials they're being surrounded by people making bad deals and have shady backgrounds, stop voting for them. Vote for someone else. Get someone else to run against them, because there may be some corruption there. A third thing is you have to go out and you have to say to yourself, okay, and I had a rule. I was a stockbroker. A lot of people don't know that. Back in the mid to late 90s, I was a stockbroker, and we have access to a lot of money, a ton of money. I had millions under my control, and I had discretion over the millions. I could do anything I wanted. I could buy, sell, anything I wanted. A lot of my clients had that. And I did a lot of trading with options and some other derivatives, which is very fast paced. A lot of money in, up and down. It makes a lot of money for people. And when you have that power of attorney, when you have the ability to just make money without anyone ever questioning you, just because you can, there's a lot of people who have corruption. There's a lot of corruption when it comes to the financial markets. How do you not be corrupt? Well, one of the things I did, and I was taught this by one of my mentors in the industry, is you set a goal for yourself that, you know what, I won't be bought off. I won't steal a dime, because the penalty as a stockbroker, if you take $500 from one of your clients or you take $50 million from one of your clients, it's the same penalty. You have the same problem. You're going to get kicked out of the industry. You're going to be fined and thrown in jail. Doesn't matter. It's $500, $50 million, same penalty. So what we do, or at least the mindset, the ideology that you go into is, okay, so I have under management $5 million. So that means I need $20 million. I have to be able to steal $20 million so that I can be corrupt, because I can live off of that. That's enough money that I can go to jail, get out of jail, and still have money, be able to live really well, buy off, all the guys in the prison, so no one's going to touch me and I'll be protected. I can afford them. I can afford buy a house and live a good life in some other country once I get out of jail. $20 million. That's my number, because I have $5 million under management. That means if I took every penny of every one of my clients at the beginning, then I still wouldn't hit 20 million. So it's not worth the risk. I can make more money off of them for a longer period of time doing my job and doing it well than trying to steal the money. As my clients made more money and I got more clients, so we then went to 50 million, 100 million that I was managing. Well, I increased the amount of money I needed to steal because my lifestyle went up. And so I need more money to have even more comfort, because if I'm going to steal it, I got to steal a whole hell of a lot. Can't be a little bit. It got to be a lot, because it's the same penalty. And I have to steal enough that I can maintain the lifestyle I had for many years to go, because I'll never work with money again. So you make a ceiling or a permissibility for yourself that's always out of reach. It is, you'll never be able to attain that kind of level. So you'll never get to the corruption, because it's always out of reach. It's not a perfect system, but it's a way of thinking. And so that helps. So those are a couple of answers to your question there. I hope that answers that for you. The lunatic again. Wow, lunatic, you're right on it today. Lunatic says, I swore an oath. I swore I swore an oath. Conflict is inevitable. Freedom, liberty, pursuit of happiness, ownership, individuality. Hey, I swore an oath too. I understand. And we stand by those oaths by holding the politicians accountable, by letting our friends and family know that even if they disagree with us, let's have this conversation. I see a problem and you should be aware of it. Whether you agree or not, at least you're aware. And the more you're aware, the less likely you are to be taken advantage of. So that's one of the things we owe to people. Make them aware and then follow up. Phil with $2. Thank you, Phil. Phil says, you're a great Sharp Away host. Subscribe to Mike. Thank you, Phil. Thank you. And you know what? You remind me that I do have to mention again, not for me. This is the Sharp Way show. This is Larry Sharpe's channel, his program. He's giving me the opportunity to speak to your audience, to his audience. I'm trying not to screw that up. I hope I'm not. And I want you to know, please remember to hit the like button. As Larry loves to say, Lima, India, Kilo, Echo. That's right. That is phonetic. That is the proper way to say that on a radio. Lima, India, Kilo, Echo. Hit the like button. I know Larry says smash it with your elbow. He says hit it with your booty. Hey, you put on some good old jazz or maybe some old blues and hit it with your hips. Knock it out. Just don't break your phone. But hit the like button for Larry while he's away. I would appreciate it. By the way, if you wanted to know where do you find me on Sundays or throughout the week, you want to see some of the things I do, you want to see what happens when I'm actually doing my normal show, which can be about 5 hours on average. I don't expect anyone to sit through the whole thing. I mean, people do, and I appreciate it. I love it. And on my birthday, I do 12 hours. 12 hours of me just going over everything. But instead, we're talking about 2 hours here. But you can always check it out every Sunday at 2:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Just go on and you can go over on Twitter. It's MV Consult. On YouTube, on Rumble, it's No Soundbites Allowed. You can check it out there for yourself. I have content. I have over 2,500, 26, 27, almost 3,000 videos that I've done over the last 15 years on YouTube. I've been doing this for 20 years now. I've covered every subject you can imagine. There is no topic I'm not familiar with. So if there's something that you want to know more about and you want to be able to go back in time and forward in time, just check it out. It's kind of like Larry. We've been doing this so long. We have a lot of history there. Matt Ice came up and for the $2, thank you, Matt. Find out who's not taking IPAC money and vote for them. The problem is, and I know a lot of people would like to point to IPAC, AIPAC, which is an Israeli pro-Israel PAC. I can point to Act Blue. I can point to a dozen. Al Franken has a leadership PAC. That's the one that people should really be paying attention to. Leadership PACs. Most people don't even know what they are. It's like a PAC. What's a PAC? It is an organization that collects a bunch of money and gives it to politicians. So, and when they do that, they ask those politicians for favors. They ask those politicians to, basically ask them for favors to pass this policy that they like. And a lot of people lately, because of what's been happening with Hamas, what's been happening with the American hostages, the 17 that were killed by Hamas out of the 22 that were and tortured for 582 days. A lot of people have been pointing to IPAC and saying, well, see, it's Israel. Oh my God, everyone's corrupt. Act Blue does the same thing. They're mostly for Democrats, but they do the same thing. I believe there's Red Wave, which does it for Republicans. There's a lot of money in our politics. And beyond all of that, there's the leadership PACs, which is exactly the same thing, except have you ever heard when a Democrat will say to you, and they say, well, Mike, they say to the public, I don't take any money from corporations. They're liars. When you hear politicians say, 9 out of 10 times, they are lying. What you have to do is you look it up, and you can find this. It's public information. And you'll look for any leadership PACs. Josh Riley, who is the New York 19th or 21st. I think it's the 21st now. Could be the New York 19. I think it's the New York 21. He's the congressman there. I know him personally. And Josh Riley says he doesn't take corporate money, but he does take leadership PAC money. Al Franken, who was disgraced Democrat, kicked out of the Senate because of Me Too, he has a leadership PAC. So all the corporations give their money to the leadership PAC for Al Franken, and Al Franken gives the money to Josh Riley. So Josh says, I don't take money from any corporations. No, but you took it from Al Franken, and Al Franken took it from the corporations. And by the way, the corporations told Al Franken, when you talk to Josh Riley, do me a favor. Tell him I want him to pass this bill or not pass that bill. And he does. So yes, it's still the corruption. It's just they hide it. If you don't know where to look, if the news media won't tell you, then you won't know about it. And that's why they say these things. So it's not just IPAC. All the PACs do it. And most of them are not good. Phil, back with another $2. I love this, folks. I'm just going off of the super chats and Rumble rants. I love you guys. Phil says, any investment tips, sector, mutual fund, stock? I have many. I don't give out financial advice publicly. Very rare, very, very rare. Last time I gave out advice, it was during the GM when Obama was forced the United States to buy GM stock. And at the time, I owned Alcoa Aluminum. And I literally set side by side, here's the price I bought it on the day, showed the ticket, showed the price versus where GM was. 6 months later, I sold my Alcoa for a profit, double, and the American public lost in GM because the American government doesn't know how to make money. American government doesn't know how to do anything. That's why we see them fail over and over again. Never let politicians pick winners and losers because they will always be wrong every single time. They don't understand finance. They know nothing about it. They're not brokers. They're not financiers. They're politicians. People like Chuck Schumer. He's been in politics for 45 years. He doesn't know anything about finance. He's never had a financial job. He doesn't manage anything. He's just been a politician. He talks and raises money and runs for office. He doesn't know anything about it. Nancy Pelosi, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, yeah, she knows how to be a bartender. She doesn't know how to run a corporation. She doesn't know anything about. She has her feeling about magical money, the MMT, modern monetary theory, but says, well, money just falls off of trees. We can just keep spending forever. She's an idiot. She doesn't know what she's talking about. Why? Because she's never actually done anything. So I don't talk about that publicly. Privately, I talk to people. I talk to them about their finances sometimes. So, just ask. Reach out to me privately because publicly, I haven't had a license since 2006. I retired. I didn't get sued. I just retired from the industry. So I haven't had a license since that time. Not because of anything bad, just stopped being a broker, moved on. In fact, as a broker, I've never been sued. And there aren't a lot of people who can say that who've been a stockbroker for any amount of time. Almost everyone's been sued. I haven't. That's how good I was. My clients loved me. They were pissed when I left. Anyway, that being said, okay, let me keep going. Oh my God, we got so many people watching today. I'm loving this. I love the audience. You know what? I'd love to see 1,000 people. That would be a wonderful gift for Larry. Get to 1,000 viewers, 1,000 people watching it live. Again, not asking for something impossible, not asking for anyone to go crazy and lose their minds. 1,000 people watching this live would be such a gift for Larry. I would appreciate it. He would appreciate it. Let's see if we can make it happen. If we don't, it's okay. But I think we can. But I want to get back on track here because we were talking about how America has been. I want you to understand the lies that have been put to you about all this stuff because they're telling you, and they've told you over and over again. Mind you, I'm almost everything I'm telling you about has already happened. Do you remember back in 2018 when CNN, MSNBC, ABC, they each have 10,000 employees in those companies. They each make hundreds of millions of dollars each. They reach out and they have a global audience in the tens of millions. They influence people for lifetimes. And they told you Donald Trump is a dictator. Donald Trump is a dictator. Oh my God, he's going to destroy America. He's going to destroy your freedoms. You're going to have nothing left. I want you to remember that. Okay. Let me go through a little bit as well here. I want you to see something a little bit. So that's back in 2018. I've shown you some of the data since 2015. But let me also go to current day for a moment. Okay. I hate the system. It doesn't move the way I like it to. Anyway, this is from Simon Atebe. He's a credible newsman. He covers Africa. He's an African. He covers Africa itself, but he's also a White House press reporter. And excuse me one second. Oops. I think I got a message from Larry. Oops. Anyway, breaking. What was this? This was yesterday, I believe. Yes. No, today, June 12th. He came out. When you woke up this morning, America was different. Was this because of Orange Man Bad? Did America change last night, as being reported by a White House correspondent? Did it change? 8 New York Police Department police cars were burned, arson in Brooklyn. Molotov cocktails, Waymo vehicles burning in downtown LA. Anti-deportation protests, riots in 35 plus cities across America. Marines and National Guard are deployed in LA. Not enough to go around. More protests exploding everywhere, and 1,000 protests planned in progressive cities across America. Is this Orange Man bad? No. Donald Trump did not force anyone to go out, as a dictator might, and burn down police cars to make communities across America less safe. Didn't do that. He didn't stop any protests of American citizens speaking and saying, hey, I have an idea, that there's something I want to say. We can go through article after article, story after story. And the thing is, American citizens aren't being stopped. There are people who are living good lives off of the fear that you could lose your rights and your freedoms. There's no one there. No one can point to Donald Trump hasn't broken the law. In fact, he's the most transparent president we've seen. He's been more active in trying to end wars than most presidents have in their life, in their entire careers. In the first 100 days, he's worked on, 4? He's worked with Iran, the Houthis in Yemen. He worked on India and Pakistan, Ukraine, and Russia. Now, not saying that he was perfect, that he got everything done perfectly and it's all peaceful in the world's rainbows. No, but he's been working at it. They're ongoing. Nothing has completely failed yet. Israel and Hamas, not great example, but that's a much bigger problem. But again, still in negotiation, still working on it. And he's supposed to be destroying America. Meanwhile, he's trying to bring the world into more peace. He's a dictator who's bringing peace to areas throughout the entire world. And we have seen over and over again that world leaders are saying they wouldn't have even talked to each other except America was involved because Donald Trump got involved. But he's a dictator. No, the Atlantic has not been shut down. The Intercept, the Huffington Post, NBC, CNN, MSNBC, ABC, Disney, none of them have been shut down. No one has stopped them from saying anything. Yes, they've been said when they break the law, they have been told you can get sued for that. Yes, that has happened. And yes, I know today one of the ABC reporters who came out and made libelous statements against Stephen Miller and Donald Trump, he got fired. Did Donald Trump say fire him? Did he go to ABC News and say, you're going to fire that man because how dare he speak to me? No, he didn't. ABC fired him. Why? because they had a lawsuit on their hands, because he made a statement as their employee using their brand, ABC News, as his means to transmit his personal hateful message to the public. So they were liable. They were going to get sued. They fired him. That's why he doesn't have a job today. Not because Stephen Miller fired him, not because Donald Trump fired him. It's because he did it to himself. He made libelous statements. Oh, what about the immigration? Well, Mike, he's destroying the laws of this land. Every single act of mass deportation that's being done in America is by the law. You may not like that law. You may not remember that Democrats helped to pass and to write those laws, but everything's legal. You may say, you're misreading the law. That's not what the law is supposed to mean. Donald Trump is misunderstanding what it's supposed to be saying. You can say that, but he is quoting chapter and verse. This is the law of the land. It's just that in your lifetime, you haven't seen politicians that actually enforce the law. They just pass laws. Larry's brought it up many a time. How many hundreds of laws in New York State alone were passed last year? You don't even know. Most of the lawmakers in New York State don't know how many laws. Well over, I believe it's 600 laws were passed in 2024. Why? We don't even know what the laws are. We don't even know what the laws are we don't know the last 200 years of laws in New York State. There's nothing you can do that isn't a crime in one of the laws that have been written and passed and no one pays attention to anymore. Remember, there's the blue laws in America. Many states have them. Blue laws. You can't buy alcohol on a weekend. That's on the books in many many states. Many states, you can still get married at 14. It's on the books. We never remove the law. We just don't do it. No one enforces it. Well, same thing with immigration. No, they passed all the laws. But you have certain cities, sanctuary states that don't follow the law. And now, because that is a problem, because California is massively in debt, it's one of the biggest debtors in the world. New York State is one of the biggest debtors in the world. Destroying part of the reason why you're poor today, why inflation is so bad, is because New York and California are in debt and they're spending even more money. They're not stopping. They're spending even more money. And part of that money, billions of dollars in California, in New York, in Boston, in Chicago, in Portland, part of that money is going to illegal aliens, people who should not be in our country at all, because no one enforced the law. And so you're becoming more poor by the day because no one's enforcing the law. And when someone does enforce the law, oh, they're the bad guy. Oh, he must be a racist. He must be an ist. He must be a phobe. You must hate people because you're following the law. A law that was passed by Democrats, written with Democrats. No, that's not the way it works. That's not the way it works at all. Okay, so let me go back to some of the comments. And I know I haven't looked at the comments in a little bit. I want to go back and focus on some of the comments. But I'm trying to balance between the two things here of trying to make sure you're informed about all these things that are happening, and also letting you understand how much fear is being pumped into you for years now. Not because it's going to help you, but because a politician is getting paid. They're making money. They're getting power. You get nothing in the exchange. Again, Cuomo, Trump would send federal troops to New York City. Well, if New York City's burning, yeah. If New York City is rioting and the mayor can't keep control and the governor doesn't send in the National Guard, and if they're trying to keep the border open and invite more legal aliens in, which is what California did, then yes, President Trump would send troops here. Of course he would. That's the reason why he did it in California. But guess what? New York City isn't burning. We don't have National Guard because we don't need them at the moment. So you have no threat, but see, he wants you to be afraid. And he wants you to know he's going to protect you. Andrew Cuomo is going to protect you from the non-threat that doesn't exist. The thing that he made up. He made it up. Donald Trump's going to send troops here. No, he isn't. Why is he going to send troops here? Well, he could do it. Well, yeah, he could, but he's not. He hasn't hinted at it. He hasn't mentioned it, and there's no reason for it. There was a reason why he did it in California, and it wasn't because he just felt like it. It's because Gavin Newsom didn't do his job. It's because Mayor Karen Bass didn't do her job. If they did their job, if they worked with ICE, if they deported the illegal aliens, if they closed their borders, if they stopped treating illegal aliens better than American citizens, you wouldn't need Trump to send in anybody. The problem wouldn't be there. And I know someone's going to say, but Mike, you don't know that for sure. You know what? Donald Trump, just his mere existence, the fact that he said, I'm going to enforce the law, dropped the number of illegal aliens coming into America by 95%. Yes, I do know it works. Enforcing the law reduces the number of illegal aliens we have in America. That's just a fact. That's just a fact. Okay. Hang on, we got another super chat in here. And I want to find it. I hope people are enjoying this. I hope you guys are enjoying this. I'm enjoying it. I love talking to you guys. I love taking questions. That's why I'm going to spend the rest of the time just going into the chat. I know I'm way behind on it, but I'm going to try. So did I catch up? No, there. Where is it? Bingo. Here it is. $5. Oh, John, thank you. I know who this is. This is one of my people. I don't know if my people are actually watching, but this is one of my people. John says, cover the Israeli strikes that just happened against Iran. It happened 30 minutes ago. Oh my God, 30 minutes ago? Hang on, breaking news. I was mentioning Donald Trump has been trying to increase the net peace in the world. Not perfect. Doesn't always happen. And obviously Iran can't have a nuclear weapon. Can't. Does that mean America's a dictator? Because we're saying Iran can't have a nuclear weapon. Every country in the world says that Iran can't have a nuclear weapon. The Middle East says that Iran can't have a nuclear weapon. No one trusts them because they are fanatics. The Ayatollah is a fanatic. And the problem is fanatics are willing to commit acts of terror. Iran is the largest sponsor of terror in the world, and they always have been. And that's a problem. Since 1980 with the Ayatollah, they have been the single largest sponsor of global terror in the world. And if you give them not just a nuclear weapon, because I'm not so much worried about them getting nuclear weapons, I'm worried about them putting a nuclear weapon on missiles. This is where Barack Obama screwed up. Thank you, John. Thank you for making me aware of that. I'm going to look that up in a second. The single biggest problem Barack Obama did with Iran is he said in the Iran nuclear deal, most people don't notice, they didn't read the bill. He said it's okay for Iran to build ICBMs, to build hypersonic missiles, to build drones. You know why that's a problem? Because if Iran became a nuclear power tomorrow, and if they don't have missiles, they don't have hypersonic missiles, they don't have regular missiles, they don't have ICBMs, they don't have drones, if they don't have any way to deliver the weapon, the nuclear bomb, they blow up Iran. That's it. No, they can't get it anywhere. They can't hurt anyone, whether it be Israel or European Union, the United States, whether it be Saudi Arabia or the United Arab Emirates. If they have no missiles, they can't deliver the bombs. Everyone's relatively safe. But Obama in 2016, under the Iran nuclear deal, said, why don't you stop making nuclear missiles, nuclear bombs, which you can't bring anywhere, you can't attack anyone, and why don't you use the money for over $400 billion, use the money and we'll lift all the sanctions so that you can then develop ICBMs and hypersonic missiles and drones so that you can actually deliver the nuclear weapons in the future and be a real serious threat to the world. Obama was so short-sighted and so stupid, he made it dangerous for the world. Biden, in trying to reignite the Iran nuclear deal, made it even worse. He was trying to fund the missile program of Iran, which is a delivery system that you cannot let them get ICBMs and hypersonic missiles that cannot be shot down. Because nuclear weapons, everyone can figure out how to get a nuclear weapon. How do you get the nuclear weapon to your enemy? Well, you need a missile, a bomb, a drone. You need something. They don't have it. That's what they've been researching. That's what's been slowing down Iran. Not the nuclear weapons, the missile system, the delivery system. That's the big threat. And the mainstream media doesn't tell you that. Because if you realize that and you remember what the Iran nuclear deal did, then Biden and Obama look bad because they gave full access. They helped fund Iran being able to have a way to deliver nuclear weapons to you and to your friends and to everyone else. And everyone is mad at Iran. Saudi Arabia has already had a war with them. Iraq had a war with them. They've already told the world that they want to blow up the European Union and England and the United States. And it doesn't matter if you're a socialist, a progressive, whether you're a third party or a major party. If you're an American, if you believe women should be able to read, if you believe that people in the alphabet should be able to live, they want to kill you. That's what the Ayatollah has said since 1980, 40 years. I think I take him seriously. I take him at his word. That's why it's so dangerous. That's why they can't have nuclear weapons. Because Obama let them build the hypersonic missiles and he let them build the hypersonic and ICBMs, the delivery systems. That's why they can't have nuclear weapons. Can't. And so that's what Israel is doing. So let me see here. But does that break America? Did Donald Trump break America? No, he did not. The fact that he's having negotiations right now with Iran saying no more nuclear, no more ICBMs, no more missiles. No. And you know what? You can't have any kind of nuclear materials. No. That's not breaking America. That's protecting America. Matt says, Jeffrey Sachs said that Iran hasn't wanted nukes for years. A lot of people are saying they don't want nukes. Even the Ayatollah Khomeini is actually very public. He's publicly stated that he doesn't want nuclear weapons per se. That's not the focus of Iran. Because, again, without the missile, the nuclear weapon is useless. It's not important. But they do now have the technology. So they are interested in it now. But if you went back 10 years, they didn't want it. They didn't want it because they had no way to get it anywhere. Now they have the technology coming out of China and North Korea and their own research. They have found the way to make hypersonic missiles. They have drones and they have ICBMs. They're not very good, but they don't need them to be good. They just need one to work. They don't need them all to work, just one. And they will achieve everything that they want. And so that's why it's such a scary thing. But thank you, Matt, for pointing that out. That is a good point. I know Israel was considering the strike. I don't see news that says they did it. Give me a second, folks. I'm just checking this out. So I see a lot of news coming out, at least at this moment. I don't see anything from the last half hour. I see that they're saying that Iran wasn't complying with the nuclear obligations, that the talks have been breaking down. I see that Israel has been hog wild because they're the first target, by the way. And it only takes a drone to reach Israel from Iran. So they don't need hypersonic missiles. They don't need ICBMs to get Israel, and they're the first ones they would attack. Saudi Arabia would probably be second, then probably Europe, England, the United States, pretty much in that order. Pretty much. Maybe United Arab Emirates, maybe somewhere in the middle there, along with Europe. But that's the general gist of it. I don't see the news at this moment. I don't doubt you, John, that it did happen. I just haven't seen it. And again, Trump isn't the bad guy here. He's actually doing the right thing. He could be barn stomping in there right now. He could be using the full might and power of the United States. He could have a draft going on right now. He doesn't. He doesn't. He's been following the law every step of the way. It's just that Democrats don't like it. They don't like that they're being restricted. They don't like that they're being held accountable. They don't like that someone is actually paying attention to what they're doing and calling them out for their virtue signaling and their power grab and their money grubbing. Because that's honestly what it is. That's what they're doing right now. They're not achieving anything good. Okay, let me go back to some of the comments here. Because I apologize. I know I'm so used to doing my show, which is a lot of me talking, and I have hours, like 5 hours, to be able to take comments all day. I understand you guys don't, so I apologize. I've been talking a little bit more than I should be. I am reading some of the comments, but I want you to understand this is a lot of information. I'm trying to make sure I'm making it as bite-sized as I can to let you understand how you are being emotionally manipulated, whether you're a libertarian, whether you're a third party, Green Party, whether you're a Democrat or a Republican. There are people who are using the information against you for their advantage, not yours. Let's see. Where did I leave off? So let me get to some of the comments here. That Liberty lady says, but Voss, MAGA GOP. MAGA GOP tells me that I should want to primary Massey and Paul. No, they don't. The GOP is not MAGA. MAGA isn't the GOP. They're not mutually exclusive, but they're not the same. MAGA can include Democrats, third party, Green Party, RFK, MAHA. That's all part of MAGA. That's making America great again. And everyone should want to make America great. If you're an American citizen, you want America to be great. I understand there's Mexicans and people from other countries, Angola and so forth, that are in California right now, and they don't want America to be great. Well, it's not their country, so I'm not surprised. But if this is your country, you want to be great. If you live in Haiti, you want Haiti to be great. If you live in Angola, you want Angola to be great. If you live in Ireland, you want Ireland to be as great as it could possibly be. Why? It's your home. Everyone should be MAGA. Everyone should want to make America great. Now, we may have different ideas about how to get there. That's a different conversation. The GOP it's just the Republican Party, not the same thing as MAGA. People in the GOP, like myself, I'm a member of the GOP. Yes, we may want to make America great, also Republicans, but I can be part of the Make America Great movement and be a Democrat or a Libertarian or a Green Party or socialist. You can be anything. They're two mutually exclusive things. So the GOP is saying that they want to primary Massey and Paul. Of course they do, because they want more power in the GOP. Doesn't mean it's the best thing for the people. And the people don't care, because the GOP can say that all day long. Thomas Massey, Rand Paul, they're not going anywhere because they actually do what the people want. So it's good for them. Mind you, I want term limits on everyone. I think everyone should have 6 years and you're done. I don't care if you're great, you're the best person ever or the worst. 6 years, you're out. Okay. Let me see here. Charles says, we aren't free in the U.S. We are like rats in a maze thinking we are free but walled off in many ways. I disagree with that. Now, that doesn't mean that we have total freedom, that we can do anything and everything that we ever wanted to do. No, we have laws. We're in a society. We live in societies. So we have restrictions based on society, morality, the laws. That's where all that comes from. But in terms of freedom globally and historically, we have the most freedoms that has ever existed in the history of mankind. You're more capable of doing more things without restriction in the United States. We don't have a class system. You're not put into that. We don't have a religious system that locks you out of that. We don't have a slavery system. I know we did at one point. We don't have it anymore. You can change your class, your economics, your social status in America like nowhere else in the world. We're not slaves. We're not completely unbounded because we have society. We have morality. We have to live with each other. But comparatively to anything, any other system and any other nation, no one else compares. No one. But I understand your reasoning. I do understand your reasoning there. Let me go on through. Let's see. Phil says, Elise Stefanik has a promising future as a lobbyist. Elise Stefanik will probably be governor of New York. She'll beat Kathy Hochul. She'll beat Antonio Delgado. Delgado used to be the New York 19th district. He abandoned his own people so he can get a cushy job as lieutenant governor where he did nothing. You never heard of him. You didn't hear of him as a member of Congress. You didn't hear of him as a lieutenant governor. He did nothing except collect a paycheck. And now he wants to be governor. So he can do nothing again and get even more money. He'll just be a yes man to the Democratic Party as he already has been. And he'll just say yes to anything the Democrats say and make a paycheck. He'll lose to Elise Stefanik. She will probably be your governor. Well, you may not like her. I think she'll be more effective and more efficient than what Hochul has done, what Andrew Cuomo has done, what Antonio Delgado would do, what Richie Torres, who's the New York congressman from New York 15th, who's looking to be governor as well. I think she beats all of those people. Now, are there third-party candidates? Could there be a third-party candidate who may appear at some point, and I don't know, maybe they're a better governor than Elise Stefanik? Could be. Could well be. We'll see if that person pops up. And if they do, let's support them. But until then, yeah, Elise Stefanik, she seems like she would be the best one. Doesn't mean that she's the best person. Doesn't mean you're going to have beers with her. Charles says, is this like a Sunday live stream 6 hours? No, it will not be. It looks like I'm pushing up against 2 hours, but I'm not going to be on forever. No, we're not going to do a 6 hour show. Let's see. Dave says, Michael, that is so true about Trump. He's as much of a grifter as most politicians. Kind of. He was more so when he was younger, but I think most politicians today, they're the ones that are getting grift from him. They were the people that he was giving the grift to for decades upon decades. He doesn't need to grift anymore. He's got the business. He's got the money. He's got the power, which makes him less likely to grift. Adrian, thank you for being here with me. Says, I'd be happy if we could just remember to have a constitution and follow it. We're trying, and I do think we need more third-party candidates out there, but I think we need to be honest and we have to be accountable. And when we see people that are pushing out these things, oh my God, Orange Man bad, that's a nothing. You've said nothing. You haven't helped any conversation for anyone. Everything that's wrong is Orange Man bad. You haven't helped anyone. You haven't fixed the problem. You're just pushing out propaganda. That's some politician, some political organization is doing great. You gave them another donation. You didn't help anyone. So I think that's what we need to focus on. And in doing that, if we focus on the Constitution, hold the politicians accountable, and when they break the law, We don't go, oh my God, they're a Democrat, they're a judge. You can't do that to them. You go, yeah, okay. When Alex Padilla got kicked out of the room, everyone should have applauded. Why? He should be. And we can't say, oh my God, but he's a senator. Then he shouldn't have been doing this in the first place. He has the means to ask a question on behalf of constituents to the Trump administration. That's why he's a senator, to do exactly that. So we shouldn't be like, oh my God, it's so bad, and Trump's being so mean, it's authoritarian. No, it's not. It's called law and order. It's being civil. But that's my opinion. Others may disagree, and that's perfectly fine. That's why I'm here. And that's why we have like well over 400 people, maybe 500. I'm not sure the exact numbers. We might be at 1,000. I haven't checked out the numbers yet, but we're up there. Let's see. At the Liberty Lady, Mike Voss is a pro at this. Maybe we can have more of this when Larry can't make it, keeping up the routine. Phil, I don't know if everyone agrees with you on that, but not a problem. I am out of practice of getting a lot of comments. I'm not, my show, I don't get as many comments. I'd love to. I keep asking for it, but Larry's show, this is Larry's show. And you guys are so much better at responding to him, both in like and share and subscribing to him, getting him to 50,000. That's right. Get him to 50,000 views, to 50,000 subscribers. That's what we want to do. Get Larry to 50,000 subscribers. Plus, of course, super chats and that help to pay the bills, because Larry's got to pay bills too. But I don't know. I'll see what everyone else is saying here about what they think of me. Let's see. Andrea. Hey, Andrea. Andrea says, I heard recruitment is going up since Trump got reelected. That's true. That is a fact. It hasn't gotten back to the levels when he was the 45th president back in 2019, but they are rising well above what we saw under the Obama administration, which was just, we fell off a cliff in terms of recruitment. The only ones that maintained minimum recruitment levels were the Marines, and they were literally at the bottom of the minimum recruitment level. And everyone else just fell below and missed all their targets. So it is improving. Strong leaders do that. Strong leaders, people want to follow a strong leader. I mean, think about it. Do you want to go into a country and be abandoned by Joe Biden, by Democrats, weak leaders? You know, Joe Biden abandoned 70,000 Americans around the world. He forgot about them, just let them go. And that's a fact. It's documented. We have the numbers on this. It's 70,000, 5,000 Afghanistan, 10,000 Ukraine, 16,000 in the Sudan alone, and 40,000 in Haiti. Just abandon them. That's not even including what happened with Hamas in Gaza. So who wants to follow that? Someone who's that weak? Or do you want to follow someone who's trying to get 4 massive conflicts in the world into peace and is upfront in everyone's face saying, this is what I'm going to do. This is what the law says, and this is what I'll do. Do you want to follow that person? Someone who may well get and earn a Nobel Peace Prize, not because of his potential, but because of what he actually did? Who do you want to be your commander-in-chief? I know, I served. I'd rather have Trump, who has a focus and a plan, and I truly believe that he has goodwill at the end of the tunnel, as opposed to Joe Biden, who will do whatever it takes to get reelected. He just wants the next election. Somehow I think Democrats, they just want to stay in power. That doesn't seem like a very good commander-in-chief in my experience, but people may disagree with me. Let me see here. I'm going through some of the comments. I'm trying to catch up. I know I'm never going to catch up on all the comments you guys have been putting out there. By the way, I'm more than happy to hear. If you think I'm wrong, tell me I'm wrong. I know you're Larry's audience, but sometimes people hold back. I'm perfectly fine with people saying, Mike, I absolutely disagree with everything you've said. That's perfectly okay. As long as it's respectful, I have no problem. I got a thick skin. I've been doing this a long time. Tell me why you think I'm wrong, if you think I am, or if you think it can be improved. If you like part of what I said, but it's like, Mike, but you got to tweak this a bit. Okay, let's talk about it. Let's see here. Peace Logic says, don't worry about getting money to be rejected. Just serve your constituents. I wish politicians would do that. They won't. They won't. And by the way, Peace, yes, it seems like there is no Rumble today. That's something with my failure with the technology because I'm an idiot using StreamYard. I don't know how to use StreamYard. And so it seems I screwed that up. I apologize. We will have it reposted after the show because I'm just dumb. I'm good with some technology, not all of it. Let me see here. Mike says, thank you for covering for Larry, Mr. Voss. I am mostly on board with your politics. Well, I can't ask for more than that. I don't expect anyone to be 100%. I just, if it mostly makes sense, great. We can always work together to fix the parts that you don't agree with. And I can tell you, we can go into details and say, okay, this is why I think what I think. Here's the facts that I have. And this is why I think that. If you don't agree, that's okay. Then, if you have a better idea, fantastic. Like I said, I do this with Larry on a regular basis. You guys don't know. You think I'm talking a long time here? You should see when me and Larry, we know each other personally. And we both live, at the moment, we now live in New York City. We both do. And we're both from the Bronx, not too far away from each other. And so we meet on a regular basis and we talk, and we'll go hours on some of the issues back and forth at each other. Brutal. But at the end of the day, it's not because we don't respect each other. We do. That's why we can go head to head hard on the issues, because I respect and I know he knows what he's talking about. He has a plan. He understands the situation. I have a certain understanding as well, sometimes not the same as his. And we can, by having that conversation from the two different viewpoints, we can find out. Sometimes we'll understand things that we didn't realize individually, but because we had the conversation, we argued it, we suddenly came up and go, oh my God, now I get it. Now I have the answer. You'd be surprised how often that happens. Mike Voss, you should consider leaving the Republican Party and joining the Constitution Party. Thank you for the offer. No, thank you. There's a lot of reasons for it. And I'm not saying that the Constitution Party shouldn't grow. Absolutely, they should. But there are many reasons why I'm a Republican and a conservative Republican. Just for full disclosure, my family is Democrats. I was born and raised as a Democrat because that's what you do in the Bronx. In the 1960s, 1970s, everyone's a Democrat. If you're in the Bronx and you're black, you were a Democrat. And then I grew up. Then I've traveled around the world. Then I got to see the world and see, coups in Moscow. I got to live in Tbilisi, in Riga. I lived in California. I saw the disasters out there, the earthquake, the fires. I've been through pretty much every man-made or natural disaster, a huge number of them. And so then I got to see a very different understanding of the world and people and how politics interacts with that, and how democratic politics since my lifetime has always failed. Always failed. Lots of promises, lots of rainbows, absolute failure. Never works. So, and communism, please don't get me started with that. I lived in communist. I lived a year and a half in Russia, in Moscow. Yeah, I wouldn't wish communism on, I wouldn't wish it on Ilhan Omar or AOC. I wouldn't actually wish that they live in the very system that they ask for, because it's so oppressive. You just don't know. I've got stories and stories about that. Worst Christmas of my life, Moscow. Okay. Let me see. Joe says, when the left say a danger to our democracy, they actually mean danger to their bureaucracy. Yes, that is exactly what they mean. It is the status quo that is in danger. See, you have to take a risk. You have to do something different. If we're doing something, again, Department of Education, it has failed. Demonstrably failed. There is no question on that. It is useless. So why are we still doing it? Democrats are like, double down. Give them even more money. Throw more money. The answer of the Democrats is throw more money at the problem. For a lot of Republicans, establishment Republicans, that's also the same answer they give, to be fair. They also say, just throw money at it. But they're both those groups are looking at the same thing. They just want to maintain power. They keep kicking the can down the road and let someone else fix it. Let someone else deal with it. Meanwhile, everything's falling apart all around us. You got to do something different. You got to take a risk. You can't get positive gains by not doing anything that could earn positive gains. So yeah, bureaucracy is the worst thing. Corruption absolutely comes out of bureaucracy every single time. Hey, Mangala Raj. I hope I pronounced that properly. Mangala Raj says, I agree. I am neither anti nor pro-Trump. That's the best way to be, quite honestly. I'm not asking anyone to be pro-Trump. I tend to be, obviously. But I still am willing to critique him. There are things that he has done I disagree with. There are things that I think he could have done better and explained better, like with the tariffs. He could have explained the long-term goal of that far, far better. He didn't. The messaging on what's happening with June 14th, that this is about the Army. It's about a celebration of a quarter of a century of the United States military and the job that they have done extremely well throughout the history of this country. I don't think that's been explained as well as it should be. So he's got his failures, and he wasted a lot of people's time arguing with Elon Musk, which I kept saying to a lot of people, why do we care about Elon Musk? He's not in elected office. He's an employee, a temporary employee. He did his job. He's gone. I don't care what he thinks. I mean, he wants to talk about technology. He wants to talk about X. Fantastic. If he wants to fund me or Larry, fantastic. Please do. But until he wants to do that, I don't care if he's he's in an argument with Donald Trump. Shut up. Go away. I don't care. It's not important. It's like the housewives of wherever the hell. I don't care about them either. Okay, let me go on. Matt goes, damn, Larry's big time now. He's got guest hosts and all that. Yes, he is. And he's getting bigger by the day. Let's keep supporting Larry. Remember, hit the like button because Larry deserves to be bigger and bigger, better and better. I hope so. And remember, you can always do, I try to keep up to all of I think I caught everyone's super chat out there, and I appreciate each and every one of them. Please do that. And that helps Larry. It helps Larry in his future goals, the growth that he has envisioned for everyone. And, maybe by, get that extra donation out there, and maybe Larry goes for an elected office again. Maybe we can get him elected this next time, because I think he's got some great ideas out there. There's a couple of them I want to polish, and I'll yell at him about that if he does decide to run for something. And I'll yell at him about it, but you know what? Let's get him running. Then we can get, maybe some good change in the world. John Lashcombe is with us. And John says, Mike, I think one thing we can do to help America is when we see Gen Z doing positive America and patriotism, we make the time to acknowledge them and show them we're proud. John, that's a great thing to say because I don't think it's said enough. And I'm at fault of this too. I beat up on Gen Z. I beat up on the younger generations. Probably, as much as they deserve, yes. But at the same time, you're right. I don't give them enough praise when they do something right. And I should. Because some of these kids are brilliant and some of them are doing incredible things and they've been very successful. And we should be proud of some of the successes, the new technologies that they've figured out, the labor-saving efforts that they've put out there, the communications that they have made available and the way they speak with us and the way they inform us. Some of them really deserve it. Some of them are really brave people. There's that young man who was at the SOTU, the State of the Union address, the young man who was made an official member of the FBI. Got a badge, little black kid, got cancer in the brain. And I know he's going in for surgery now. And God, I hope he's going to be okay. I hope he the surgery goes well and he does well. But I'm proud of him because he wanted to be law enforcement. He wanted to do well for America, for his community. He was proud. He was proud to be an American. He was proud to be a Republican, or what he understood as being Republican. He was proud of America. And you know what? We need to celebrate that. We should see that. He shouldn't be the outlier. Not to say that he didn't deserve praise as well with the battles he's made with cancer and medical issues, but it shouldn't be that strange. And so, yeah, we do need to, you're right. We do need to take more time to say, hey, I'm proud of what you did. Even sometimes when I don't agree. You know what? I am proud. I will say this, and John, you make a great point. I am proud that there are guys and gals out there right now that are protesting peacefully. The peaceful protesters, American citizens, the American citizens that are peacefully protesting. I'm not talking about mostly peaceful. Throw that out. Screw those guys. I'm talking about the ones who are out almost always during the day that take time off from their job to go down and say, no, I feel so strongly about this. I have such strong conviction about this. I believe in this so much that I'm going to take the time to stand here and shout at the government, to this elected official, and say, I think you're wrong. I think you've misunderstood. Hear my voice, reconsider your position. Whether I agree with them or not, and I don't, then that's separate. That's me. That's the details. I love the spirit that they have and the spirit that they are using to improve the nation. Again, that's MAGA. That's making America great. I may not agree with what they think greatness is or how to get there, but I appreciate that that's what they're trying to attain. And I think we do need to celebrate that more. I have no problem with the peaceful protesters, every single one of them. You know, you want to have open borders. I absolutely think you're completely batshit crazy, but I appreciate that you're willing to fight for it. Now let's have the conversation about what's the best immigration policy, period. Let's sit down. Let's actually hash it out. Let's actually get a better immigration system than we have right now, because it can be improved. It can be improved. We can do better for some refugees. We can do better for some illegal aliens, migrants. We can do better. Let's have that conversation and let's do better. Let's use that energy and my energy saying, hey, I want to preserve laws and I want to preserve this nation, but I don't mind helping people, mostly temporarily, but I don't mind helping people. And they're like, oh yeah, let's give them everything. Okay, let's not give them everything. Let's have some rules. Let's have some qualifications. Let's work on it together. I do appreciate that. And so, John, you're right. We should give them praise for that. Let's see. John goes on to say, Mike, both of my grandfathers served in the military, and they would inspect me covering my heart during the Pledge of Allegiance and show me that they were proud of me, which made me very patriotic. We absolutely should be having the Pledge of Allegiance in our classrooms. And I know someone will say it's indoctrination. It's nationalism, not the same thing. Nationalism isn't necessarily indoctrination. There's nothing wrong with being proud of your nation. Not to say that America's perfect. It's not. Then again, point to the perfect nation in the world. It doesn't exist. Point to the perfect government in the world. It doesn't exist. In the history of mankind, there is no perfection. But we're as good as it gets. So no reason not to be proud of it. No reason to not stand there publicly and be proud of the great things that our nation has done that other nations can't do. They didn't do it in the past. They can't do it today. Nothing wrong with being proud of that. And if you're proud of what you've done, the good things that you've accomplished, the things that we have changed in my lifetime, we went from a black man and a interracial couple could not exist in most of this country. When I was going to elementary school, There were laws, well enforced laws, that you could not have an interracial marriage. Matter of fact, if friends of my family came up from South Carolina because they were going to get killed because they were an interracial marriage. By the way, that marriage lasted 47 years until they died. They never got divorced. They were always together. 47 years. Good days, bad days. Great marriage. And they had to run out of South Carolina. And my family took them in. And they lived with us for a short time. And then they got themselves established and lived in New York for the rest of their lives, in the Bronx for the rest of their lives until they died. And today, walking up and down the street, interracial relationships all over the place. Alphabet relationships all over the place. No one cares. No one cares. It's not a surprise. It's not a shock. No one would blink about that. My lifetime, you could get killed for that. You can't tell me America hasn't improved, that America isn't becoming a greater nation. You can't tell me, oh, well, I'm repressed and it's all racism. No, it's not. No, it's not. You have no perspective, and you're not looking for perspective. You're looking to push propaganda, and somebody's getting rich off of it. Someone's getting powerful off of it, because you can't sit there and say to me in my lifetime, where I have observed this in human beings across this country, and you say, oh, no, but America's so racist. You don't understand how racist America is. You haven't lived in their racism. Please stop with that stuff. Okay, let me go on. Okay, we're over 2 hours. I'm not going to go crazy. I'm not going to do a 5-hour show. Maybe about 2.5, like another 15 minutes or so. I want to try and get through the comments. I know there's a lot of them. I love it. I love that there's a lot. Let's see. Dan Utley says, by the way, I know a bunch of you guys from when I'm moderating for Larry. I love to see that you guys are very much involved. I know I haven't gotten to everyone's comments. I apologize, but I love to see you guys here. The Democrats voted with Massey and Paul against the big, beautiful bill. Must mean they're doing good. Nah, there's aspects of the big, beautiful bill I like and don't like. So, but at least Massey, at least Rand Paul are consistent. There's a reason why they're not doing it because Orange Man bad. They're not doing it because Donald Trump's a dictator, which the Democrats are. That's the only reason why they're doing it. No, Massey and Paul are saying no because they have substantive reasons, because we spend too much money. We're about to have $37 trillion. We're well on our way to, by 2030, 2032, we should have about $50 trillion in debt. That's a ridiculous number. We can't afford that. Inflation is growing every day just off the interest of the debt that we have. We have to shrink the government because it does have an impact. It makes poor people more poor. It takes people out of the middle class and puts them into the poor. It is destroying the bedrock and foundation of our nation. That's a fact. So they're right. We need to stop spending. So yeah, we should shrink the government. Doge was a great idea. It should have been followed up on. We haven't done enough with that. And Congress is at fault for that. Doge showed us where we cut, and Congress didn't do it. And the Congress that's not following that lead and actually closing these programs forever, they're only temporarily shut down. They're not closing them down forever, and that's because Republicans are not doing their job. I have no problem with saying that. Mike Johnson, I didn't want him to be in charge because I thought he would be useless, and he is. Let's see here. What is this? What is this comment? I can't show it. Okay. No, there it is. Okay, it was just internet running slow. Phil says sometimes a Rutherford. Okay, I can't say that. Never mind. Let's see here. You would be Elon Musk with 20 million living in Thailand. By the way, no one's talking about it. Thailand, Cambodia, massive conflict building up over there. I'm very concerned about it. And I do know some members of my audience, Happy Life, I'm talking about you, do live. There are Americans that are living in Thailand. There's a bunch of Americans living in Southeast Asia. Please be safe, guys. Remember, always have your passport on you. Always know the route to the American embassy. Know multiple routes to the American embassy. Know multiple routes to embassies that are allies of the United States, just in case you need it. Always, always remember that when you live overseas. Always important. Personal experience. I'm telling you, always know that. Okay, let's see. What else we got here? I'm just trying to catch up on the comments. I know there's a lot of comments in between. I'm not seeing comments telling people saying, Mike's screwed up. He's horrible. He should be better. Joe says, no sound bites allowed. We'll take a phone call if you wish. I usually do. Right now, I'm trying to figure out how to connect my phone, which is an S25 Samsung, and I need some equipment so I can connect it to my soundboard so I can take phone calls again. But yes, I do take phone calls. Just got to figure out and be able to afford whatever I know it's a piece of an equipment that connects the Samsung S25 to a Yamaha. What is this? It's a Yamaha MG16XU soundboard. If anyone knows what the connector is and how much it costs, let me know. I love that. Matt goes, actually, it was only 1 million I took from Bernie Sanders. That's funny. Phil says, Mike's giving us a lesson on political money laundering. Yes, I did. And that's why I get suppressed. That's why Larry Sharpe gets suppressed, because we actually tell you these things about how these things are being done. I absolutely guarantee you, Josh Riley is pissed that I told people about why Al Franken, with his leadership PAC, why it exists and why it gave him so much money to launder money. He's pissed. And he'll probably try and give me a call and be like, Mike, why would you tell people that? Yeah, he has my phone number. He knows me. But it's the truth. It's the truth. And he knows it. And this is how they lie to you. And I guarantee you, I'm not the only one who knows that. Every guy, every man and woman and person, whatever, that works for all of the major news media that deal with politics, they all know about the leadership PACs. Every single one of them. They all know about it. They just don't talk about it. They don't tell you about it because they don't want you, the common folk, to know about it. Then you may pay attention. You might realize that your politicians aren't nearly as honest or forthright as they like to say they are, that they're getting corporate money just like everyone else is. Let me see here. Give me a second here, folks. But that's why Google suppresses my channel. That's why you see Larry's channel is suppressed, because we tell you the truth. It's the stuff that, if you don't spend 10 years, 15 years in politics, you won't find out about this stuff, but it's happening. Let's see. Dave says, Mike, MGM doesn't donate to Democrats. The president of MGM donates to Democrats. Big Ag doesn't donate to Republicans. Bruce Rasteter donates to Republicans. That's not exactly correct. Now, you're right. Any one company or any one industry may or may not donate. But by and large, you will see that these corporations will use leadership PACs and other PACs like IPAC, like Act Blue, to push through their funding and the request for favors to many politicians. So you do see it. But yes. By the way, if anyone saw the news about Iran and Israel, I'm going to cover it, obviously, on Sunday. By the way, if you guys are enjoying this, I got like 6 more minutes. If you've been enjoying this, I will be back on Saturday. I will do an AMA. Ask me anything. Larry's still going to be over in California with Freedom Fest. It's going to be the last day. So I'll be on 8 o'clock. I have a fundraising event I have to go to. It's not fundraising for me. A candidate that I know is doing a private fundraiser, and I'm going to be there. I have some words to say. And then I'm coming straight from that fundraiser back here. So Saturday at 8 p.m., I will be back. Ask me anything. You want to know more about being a stockbroker? I'll tell you about it. You want to know what it's like to live in Moscow under the Soviet Union? I'll tell you about it. You want to find out about how I broke my leg and why my legs are two different heights? I'll be able to tell you about it. We can talk about anything you want, And of course, anything about politics. Anything about politics over the last 50 years, I'll be more than happy to answer your questions about that. Phil says, Molotov cocktails are a destructive device, like a grenade. I'm sure they had a permit for those. Well, it's kind of crazy because governments define things weird. Did you know that in New York State, a deadly implement is anything that has been used to harm and or kill a human being? So, you've got a spoon, that's a deadly implement because it's been used to kill someone. You got a rock, that's a deadly implement. And they use that in conjunction with red flag laws so that they can go and take away your property and your rights. Because if you've bought a spoon, a baseball bat, a knife, a steak knife, a fork, a hammer, nails in the last 6 months, according to New York State red flag laws, that is a reason for a judge to sign a warrant to take away your property. Don't believe me? Ask a lawyer. More importantly, ask members of the assembly. I did. I'm right. That is what the New York State red flag law said. You bought a hammer. That's a deadly implement. It can be used to kill somebody. You bought it in the last 6 months. Well, sorry. Now we have a warrant to take away all your property, take your kids out of your home. You're going to be ostracized in your family because red flag law. It's true. It's true. Let's see. Matt Ice says, I don't believe any of this sniz-snaz. Really? Sniz-snaz? I haven't heard that in 30 years. I didn't even know anyone knew what sniz-snaz was. It's like old, ancient term. Is organic. Just pushing a narrative. Yes, the rioting that we're seeing, most of the rioting and most of the news coverage of the rioting, and absolutely pretty much every elected Democrat's response about the rioting is none of it's organic. It's all about pushing an agenda. It's like what we saw with Alex Padilla. It's performative. It's about, look, I'm fighting Trump. I'm fighting the Trump administration. I'm trying to protect you. No, you're not. You're protecting illegal aliens. You're protecting MS-13 members. Literally. Alex Padilla was trying to stop and impede and embarrass the Trump administration so that members of MS-13, members of gangs and criminals, sex slavers and domestic abusers, and again, that even if it's 1 in 10 of all the illegal immigrants, doesn't matter. That's who he is supporting to keep in America. And he's doing this to make more money and to have more power. Doesn't care about you. It's not in your best interest. It's embarrassing. Mike Gray says, I like this guy. Thank you. Thank you. I do appreciate that. I know some people would say they hate me, but I do appreciate when people do like me. I know I'm an acquired taste for many people. Let me see here. I am so bad at keeping up with the comments. John, I know you sent me the article. John loves to send me articles in the middle of a show when I can't really look it up because I'm talking to you guys. I'm answering your comments. I'm trying to make a point or explain something. And he sends me the articles, which I love, but he doesn't want them in the show. And he knows I try to look them up, but I can't always. And that's just, Let me see here. So Alexa Blu-ray, thank you for the comment, Alexa. I apologize. It's taken me a little while to get here for it. Alexa says, yes, it is just confirmed that it was Israel and they did attack Iran. Again, I'm not surprised. No one is going to let Iran have nuclear weapons. But again, the bigger problem isn't the nuclear weapons. It's the fact that they have the missile system. Now, I know there are experts out there that will disagree with me. Many people will have an argument about it. Again, I don't want Iran to have a nuclear weapon. I don't trust them. I don't trust the Ayatollah. I don't trust their fanaticism. But the bigger problem is not just the nuclear weapon, it's the delivery system. And since the Biden administration, the Obama administration made it possible for them to develop the missile systems, now we have the real threat. Now we are dealing with the consequence of their actions. Is that Orange Man bad? Not at all. Orange Man bad is right now, he's been trying to negotiate a deal with Iran. The Orange Man bad was warning and publicly came out and told us that Israel was about to bomb Iran. It was Orange Man bad that was was saying to Netanyahu, don't do this. We're in negotiations to get more peace, to take away the missiles and the ICBMs and the drones from Iran. Give us the chance to make the deal. Don't do this, because now it's going to start a series of, you're going to see dominoes falling all over the place. Is that Orange Man bad's fault? No, it isn't. Israel's its own country, good and bad. They have good points, they have bad points, but that is completely separate of Orange Man bad. He's trying. You may not like the results, but he is making an effort, and he's not just evil. And yet, as I showed you earlier, we have documentation of thousands of comments, and I only look for 2 terms. Imagine if we were looking for any of the other things that they have claimed Donald Trump is, or how horrible he is. If the Trump administration, how bad they are. We're talking about tens and tens of thousands. You've been bombarded. You've been indoctrinated. The propaganda has swelled all around you. You have been drowned in propaganda for over a decade. And it's only because somebody wants the status quo. Some Republicans, some Democrats, a lot of progressives want status quo. They want power, and they don't care about you. Okay, let me move on. Oh my God, I'm going to jump. Let me jump down a little bit here. Stonks? What's that mean? Stonks. I don't know what that is. I'm old. I don't know all the latest terms. What's stonks? I know Sunday I've got to talk about what happened with Israel and the missiles in Iran, or Saturday, if you guys want to do it during the AMA. Dan asked, so is Israel no longer our ally for blowing up peace talks, or was it all smoke? Israel is still our ally. They're our only ally in the Middle East. We're friendly with the Saudi Arabia. We're friendly with the UAE. The whole point of getting a jet from Qatar is because they want to be friends with the United States. Those are all transactional arrangements. That's all because of having a strong leader with a focused mind. They don't like Iran any more than anyone else does. They're not our allies. They're willing to be friendly with us today. Tomorrow might be something different. So Israel is our only ally. That's both strategic. It is both safety for them, strategic for us. We have a commonality in a lot of history, in terms of laws, in terms of government, in a lot of culturally, we have a lot of similarities. So we're still an ally. It's just that we don't agree. And you can think of it like, well, again, Larry's a libertarian. This is his program. I'm a Republican. We disagree sometimes vehemently disagree. We're still friends. We still overall have the same goals, same drive, same intentions. One doesn't stop the other. It just means that sometimes we argue a hell of a lot. And that's true of nations just as much as it is individuals, as people. So yeah, they're still our ally, but we're upset with them. And we have good reason to be. This could be a problem, a big problem, depending on how severely they were hit and how much we see Israel respond, or rather, Iran respond to this. Okay, let me move down. Oh my God, I missed this. I apologize, Peace. I missed this. I didn't see it. I didn't see when this came in. Peace Logic says, and he said this at about 8:40. Oh my God, an hour ago. Oh my God, I'm over. I'm just so far behind. Peace Logic says, ABC News live reported 33 minutes ago that Israel launched a preemptive strike against Iran. It was on YouTube ABC Live. I got to do but I'm not getting any sleep tonight. I'm going to be researching that all night long. Dave Davis, I want America to be great. I don't see politicians doing it. They can't. That's the big lie. I don't care if they're Republican, conservative. I don't care if they're Democrats, progressive, socialists. I don't care if they're libertarians or Green Party. Politicians do not make countries great. Presidents don't make countries great. The people make them great. So, yes, you are right. America is great because the people are great. That's why you see so much effort being put into dividing us on everything. That's what equity is all about. It's the eternal division, breaking us down into smaller and smaller groups so that there's no unity, so there's no support, so it's easier to control and command people. That's what equity is for. That's why there's an arbitrary list ranking the different equities, the check boxes that many of the progressives and socialists that are in elected office or in these big organizations, they love that. It's not for your best interest. So, yes, you're right, Dave. America can be great and is great because of the people, not the politicians. I don't care which politician you point to. You can point to Thomas Massey, you can point to Rand Paul, you can Ron Paul, you can point to George Washington, Abraham Lincoln, Donald Trump. Don't care who you point to. They didn't make America great. The people did. And that's the only way it works. It's the only way it works. Let me see. Phil, okay, so there's a couple of these I may have missed that came in at the very end. I apologize, folks. Phil says for $2, he says that what I was talking about politicians, about my good friend Larry Sharpe, could be a conversation about a governor's race. Well, that's a conversation. I leave that to Larry to have that. I will simply say, please hit the like button, share this with your friends. If you found it to be educational, informative, if you found it to be useful, please share this with people. If you want to yell at me, share this with people. Send me the messages. I don't mind. And let's have the conversation with Larry and say, hey, Larry, need an answer. What do you think? I think you do great. Let me also mention that Peace Logic is a member for 5 months. You too can be a member on Larry Sharpe. In the Sharpe way, you can have a membership. It's $4.99 a month, and you get to have great programs. Look at this. Larry's not even here. He's in California protecting freedom and helping to bring more people to libertarianism in California right now. And here I am, and the show goes on, and hopefully it's been entertaining, informative, educational, something making your Thursday a highlight. So there you go. Peace Logic says, I think Larry will be governor of New York. I'm sure many others are working hard to make that happen. Viral videos are key. That is a big part of being a good today in politics. You need to get away from the mainstream news media more and more. You need independent media. You need to be able to talk to people, and you need to be genuine. You can't fake it. And here's the thing. If you don't, Chuck Schumer is successful because he can fake it. He shows up for a photo op for 5 minutes, and then you never see him again. You don't see him. Richie Torres is my congressman, New York 15th District. Nobody in this neighborhood. I've been in this neighborhood. My family's been in this neighborhood for 50 years. Same neighborhood. Actually, almost 60 years. Almost 60 years, my family's been in the same exact location. Nobody in this neighborhood, old timers or young people, know who Richie Torres is. You can fake it to be in certain offices, but it's getting harder. But you can't fake what I'm doing right now. I've been doing this 20 years. Larry's been doing it for almost as long. And Larry is a politician. I'm political commentary. The truth of who we are comes out because you can't fake it. If you go back, I can tell you for a fact, because I've done this. I know. I met Larry like 10 years ago. I met him during an interview. We were supposed to have 15 minutes. I spent 2.5 hours grilling Larry Sharpe, going over everything about libertarians, libertarianism, about his policies, what I liked, what I didn't like. 2.5 hours. I was only supposed to have him for 15 minutes. Live. That was live. Politicians don't do that. Like Republicans won't do that. Republicans who like me, who I've known for years, don't do interviews with me for that, like that. Democrats absolutely will not do an interview like that. So, that tells you about the personality. I think that's very important. And I think that's what we're seeing more and more in modern politics. And I think that's why we're seeing some changes are coming. We're getting more genuine politicians. Some of them are bad, but we're getting to see that, and people are picking up on the truth about many of these politicians. Hey, Kintsugi, good to see you. Always love to see the little smile there. Thank you for joining us. I appreciate everyone. And I know Kintsugi, and for many people who showed up late, by the way, I'm Michael Voss. If you're wondering, why am I here? As I was just mentioning, Larry Sharpe is in California, and he was gracious enough to say, Mike, would you go on my program, entertain my audience? Don't go too crazy. They'll burn you at the stake. But, go on, entertain them, because my audience deserves to be informed. And I said yes. So that's why I'm here. And I am good looking too. So that's another bonus for you guys. Not only am I here, I look good. So there you go. And for the young guys out there, I know the young 20-year-olds, the young men who are looking at me going, but you're gray. You hope to be my age one day and look as good as I do. I guarantee it. You'll be begging to look as good as I do. And I know I look really good. I've seen my pictures when I was 30. Only difference is I'm gray instead of same looks. I have more, it was all black hair instead of gray. Good looking man. Anyway, Joel says 50,000 Larry subscribers would be nice. 8 million votes for governor would be better. Why compromise? Give Larry both. Give Larry both 50,000 subscribers and give him 8 million votes for governor. You can do both. Write his name in. I got no problem with that. I'll be one of the people writing in Larry Sharpe for governor. Do I like Elise? And by the way, yes, I have met Elise Stefanik before. As a matter of fact, I met her in 2014, January 2014, in Herkimer on the campaign trail when I was running for Congress, and she was running for Congress. So, yeah, I've met her before. Doubt she remembers me very much. Do I think she's a decent person? Yeah, she's a decent human being. I think she's a decent politician. I'd still vote for Larry, not only because he's my friend, but I think he has great policies. I think he has a real plan for New York. So would I write for him? Yeah. And will I write his name in the governor's race? Absolutely. Whether he runs or not, I'm going to write in Larry Sharpe. Why? He's got the best plan. That's me personally. I'm not saying that Larry is or is not running. I'm just telling you that I don't care if he is or isn't running. My statement politically is that I would rather see Larry Sharpe than all of the above, because I think he has a better plan than all of the above. Even in the Republican Party, even people that I know in the Republican Party that would be rerunning. That's just me. Let me see. I'm way over time. I got to get out of here. Couldn't get to 1,000 viewers tonight. Oh God, I think we got I thought we were like 600 at one point. Pretty sure of that. I screwed up because I didn't get the rumble. I'm mad at myself. But that's all right. We'll deal with it. So, all right, folks, you can watch it afterwards. Get it to 1,000 viewers after the live stream. And remember, folks, after the show, you can still like and share. You can check out all of the different comments that Larry has done over the years to see why I keep saying that Larry is someone who won me over. And I'm a pretty hard sell. People who've watched my interviews, I'm known for being fair and harsh. Whether you're a Republican, a Democrat, progressives, I've interviewed people from every political party you can name, and everyone says the same thing. I'm fair, but I'm harsh. I do not let people get away with the games, soft peddling and softballs. I don't do that stuff. Not for people I know, not for people I don't know. And I try and give everyone a fair shot to answer the important questions. I don't beat up on them. I don't do gotchas. And I know Larry doesn't either. And that's why it's so great. So do check out the catalog, the back end, see you want to find out what's going on in politics. Go back a month, look at some of the old shows, find out the issue, whatever the issues that's important to you. This is one thing I always like to say to people, is what's important to you is what you vote on. You want to be involved in politics? Pick one thing that you care about. I don't care what it is. Doesn't matter if I like it or not. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter if I find it important or not. Doesn't matter if anyone else agrees with it or not. Is this an issue that's important to you? Then you should spend 1 hour a day. Start off easy. 1 hour a week reading left, right, and center about that issue. 1 hour. That's it. Do that for a month. By the end of the month, I am sure you will be spending several hours a week because you want to about the issue that matters to you. And you will find the people, whether they're elected or they're candidates, that also agree with you about that issue and the way you look at that issue. And then you will be able to help them to get into elected office, to pass a law or to repeal a law or to change a law to the way that you think it should be. You will be very much involved in that. And that makes things better. That's how you get into politics. That's how you make change. If you want to do it organically. If you don't want to do it organically, become a Democrat progressive and just look really good on TV, preferably be high on the equity scale. So if you're a disabled Black woman who's also a lesbian, you need to be in politics in the Democratic Party tomorrow, because you are what they are looking for. Everyone else has a few more criteria they got to fill out, and that's the way it goes. Matt says Mike's a cool Republican. He's not the kind the MSNBC rails on. I am exactly what MSNBC rails on. They hate my guts. I've been in politics a long time. I know a lot of politicians, and I know a lot of my fellow peers in the news industry. I often go to events, and at event after event after event, especially in central New York. I did that for 20 years. I know a lot of them just hate my guts. They hate my guts. because I'm honest with people, because I point out the things that they don't want you to know. They don't want you to think about. And I tell them when they write a bad article, I tell them, you screwed up that article. You did bad research. You're being hyper partisan. I point it out and they hate me for it. Phil, I've seen fire. I cannot sing. I've seen fire and I've seen rain. I've seen the sunny days that I thought would never end. James Taylor, absolutely. I wish I could sing. I can't. I'm not going to hurt your ears and punish you folks because I cannot sing. But yes, I love it. Phil with the music. Peace Logic says, Larry loves laws. Not quite. I do. You can say Mike does, but Larry, not so much. And not every law, but I like a lot more laws than Larry does. I'm more of a law and order guy when we have good laws. I do also believe in protesting laws when I think they're bad. I don't believe in burning down cities because I don't like a law. That I don't agree with. Like I said, red flag laws, I'm absolutely against them. They're useless, waste of time, horrible. Only reason why red flag laws exist is to punish people who don't obey. That's why red flag laws exist. They're not there. They're make money for special interest groups and to punish people who dare to exercise their Second Amendment right. Has nothing to do with making you safe. And so I protest that. Absolutely. Won't burn down a city for it, but I won't burn a police car over that. But I protest it, and I have. Gary. Hey, Gary, thank you for joining us. Gary says the Marines are there to fix stupid, but it will hurt. It won't hurt the Marines. But yes, that is exactly why we're here. That is exactly what we do. Okay, no, I'm not going to end it at midnight. I got to get out of here. I got 9 minutes, and I'm out. 3 hours. I am way over time. I was going to stop at 2 hours, then it was 2.5. I will not do more than 3 hours. I got to bake some bread so I can eat something today because I haven't eaten yet. So I got to bake my bread. That's going to take half an hour. Yes, I know how to bake. I learned how to bake bread, and I am actually pretty good at artesian bread. And it's cheaper than buying it. But so I got to do that. I got to walk my dog. And I want to have a cigarette. So yeah, I'm gonna go just at 3:00. I got 9 minutes. Hey, I make it interesting for people. That's why we have we have almost as many people now as we've had throughout this show. I didn't expect to be on this long, but we could still hit 1,000 people. We really could. I know some people are having some fun with some of the things I've said. Some people disagree. Some people agree. I appreciate all of you. It's okay. I got a thick skin. Some people will not agree with some of the things I've said, whether you're a Democrat or a libertarian or you're a third party. Even Republicans don't always agree with me, and that's perfectly fine. I am okay with that. I am thick-skinned. And I am also humble enough to remember I'm just a human being. Can't get it all right. I just happen to get a lot of it right. My predictions tend to be correct when it comes to politics, but doesn't mean I'm always right. Doesn't mean I have the perfect answer. I tend to think I do, but not always. Let's see. Mike Gray says, you're doing a great job. No sound bites allowed. Thank you. I appreciate that. So I got a couple of people who think I've done all right today. I haven't seen anyone cursing me out yet. So that's good. That just means I probably haven't noticed the comment that cursed me out. The ones that I always find funny are the ones that go, you're soulless. I actually had a guy one time, I was doing a live stream, one of my Sunday live streams. Guy got on, it was a troll. And all he said he typed in 20 times, you're soulless, you're soulless. I'm like, okay, what's that supposed to mean? Had nothing to do with politics or anything. He just said, you're evil, you're soulless, You are a horrible human being. I said, come on, at least tell me. You're going to waste my time. You're going to fill up my screen with saying I'm soulless, I'm horrible, I'm evil. Why? That's all I'm asking for. Why? You know what his answer was? Because you're a Republican. I'm like, really? I've got almost 3,000 videos that I've done. I mean, I've got literally like, I don't know, 10,000 hours of me talking about politics. I've been at events and I've written articles. I've got like, I don't know, several thousand articles I've written. And this guy is going to be mad at me because I choose, like any American citizen, I chose to be a Republican because I'm not a Democrat. He said, I'm soulless because I'm not a Democrat. And I know people have said that to Larry. I know there are people who've said, you're not a Democrat. Larry, you're black. You have to be I know, hell, it was President Biden said, we can't be black because we didn't vote for him. That is the most ignorant thing I've ever heard. And that is racist. It is flat out racist. There is no excuse for it. And it's ignorant. And it is counterproductive. It does not help America. People don't like something, say why. Have a reason. Compliance is not required. We're Americans. Compliance is not required. We should question every political leader. To go back to what we started this show with, and I'm finishing up in the next 4 minutes. Did Trump end America and freedom? No. Why? Because we can still say there are still millions of people who are saying Orange Man bad every single day because MSNBC, CBS, NBC, ABC, CNN, New York Times, Huffington Post, The Atlantic, The Intercept. These are just off the top of my head. These companies are still every day saying that Donald Trump is a dictator, that he is destroying America, that he is evil. If Donald Trump was a dictator, if MAGA was so oppressive, they couldn't write a single one of those words. They would not be able to go on TV and say any of those things. They could not go onto YouTube and say those things if it were true. It's just that simple, folks. If America was destroyed and freedom was gone, you wouldn't be able to have the conversation saying it is anything except perfect. Don't believe me? What was the worst thing you've ever heard about North Korea by a North Korean news anchor against North Korean politicians? Hell, anytime that you see a North Korean in North Korea being interviewed, when have you ever heard them say that things are bad? They don't. That's a dictatorship. Quote me, clip this, show it to your friends. It's true. If America was that oppressive, if this was so bad and America was falling apart, Orange Man bad, you'd never be able to say it. Never. You want proof that America's great? You say Orange Man bad all day long. We can put it in videos, we can have it in songs. The left marches up and down the street screaming it as they burn police cars. No. America's not, freedom hasn't ended. It's just not what certain Democrats want. It's not what some progressives want. It's not what certain people in power want because they want obedience. They want you to think freedom is obedience. And that's terrifying. Terrifying. Oh, here we go. You thought I missed this, Matt. Matt learned sniznaz from MC P Pants on Aqua. Oh, okay. On Aqua Teen Hunger Force. Okay. Now that makes sense. Yes. Do I know what Aqua Teen Hunger Force is? Yes. Yes, I do. Because I like animation. I also like anime. Massive fan of anime. Believe it or not, folks, I don't watch regular TV. I don't watch cable. I don't even watch the news programs. I have no idea what's on Fox News. I don't actually watch it. Don't care. I don't get my news from any of those sources. Ever. So, yeah, I watch anime. I play video games. And I follow the news. That's what I do. I love this. Kintsugi says, yes, Mike is based. That's a compliment. I take it as such. Thank you, Kintsugi. I can see you saying that with a big smile like you have right there. I love it. I love it. Yeah, I try. Well, I don't try to be, but sometimes I am. Phil says, Mike Voss is here to chew bubblegum and do a 6-hour stream. No, I am not. I have, wait a minute. I almost forgot. It's the end of the show. Okay. I was getting lost. Anyone else's? Oh, wait a minute. I got to do. Phil gave another $5. Thank you, Phil, for $5 as a super chat. He says Stonks was from the GameStop. I know GameStop. I know what they are. Meme stock. I didn't know. I just learned what meme stocks are like recently. It's just crazy. Also, I see you can chew bubblegum and do a 6-hour live stream, and yet to see any bubblegum. That I don't chew bubblegum while I'm on a live stream. That'll come afterwards. But thank you for that. Thank you very much. I'm just making sure I didn't miss any other super chats of anybody. It's not that I love each and every one of you. I love these comments. I love people saying stuff. Yes, even the people who are mad at me. I love you guys too. Yes, I truly and really, even the people who think I am absolutely wrong and completely disagree with me, I love you guys too. Everyone who speaks, I do enjoy that. How do I know that I'm right? Because I have conversations with you guys. Because someone says, Mike, I think you're wrong. That's what I do with Larry all the time. That's what I do with Kit Cabello. I do that too. He's Hard Lens Media. Fantastic guy. I do that with a lot of people that you may not see or hear, some regular, normal people and also politicians. And I go back and forth with them like, are we right? Let's hash it out. Sometimes yes, sometimes no. Me, more often than not, yes, I'm right. But that's, another thing. Yes, I like anime. I love anime. I only watch anime. Yes, with subtitles. I do watch subtitles. I don't speak Japanese. But yes, I watch anime in Japanese and I read the subtitles because it's better. I don't like the American translators. Most of their voices are horrible. So there you go with that. All right. But that being said, man of culture, some of the anime is culture. That's not called anime, though. It has a different title. But yeah, I get it. Anyway, folks, it is time to go. We've been on for, oh my God, 3 hours. I am amazed. I can only do this because I'm enjoying having conversations with you. I can only do that because Larry Sharpe had gave me the wonderful opportunity to come on to his show, the Sharpe Way Show, on the Sharpe Way channel to speak with you guys. And I do again apologize to everybody on Rumble. We're going to post this all up on Rumble after the fact. I apologize to you guys. I don't know how it didn't go up. I'm learning the StreamYard system. I'll get it better on Saturday. Not a problem. But I tell you what, guys, I love you guys. And I love that Larry gave me the opportunity to speak to you, to introduce myself, to share some of my thoughts. Saturday, we will have an AMA at 8 p.m. Ask anything you want about all the politics. As long as it isn't breaking news while I'm on with you, I pretty much have a solid understanding of just about everything in politics over the last 50 years. So don't feel afraid. Ask me anything you want. What is that? Is Mike going to leave us with a homework question? Yes. Okay, here's the homework question. That's right. Larry likes to do homework questions. Real easy homework question. It'll be this. Can you name a politician who has been more transparent and more and better for America? So they have to be transparent and better for America than Donald Trump. Can you name a politician who has been better for America and more transparent than Donald Trump? I'd love to see who you pick. Doesn't matter I don't care what party they're in or what their ideology is. They just have to be a president. I'll even open it up to any politician. Doesn't matter what party, as long as they've who's been more transparent and beneficial for America. Save it for Phil. Stop typing right now. Put it in the comments afterwards. Oh my God. Just lost my voice. Okay. All right. That means I've been talking too long. Save it for the comments. Guys, thank you. I got to get my voice back. You guys have a great night. Thank you.